Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Yeah, what's up? Hello, everybody. I'm still waiting for David. I don't know. I think he's gonna show up one day. One day. Oh, I think he's going to show up one day. He told me. He said, "Hey, I'll be a few minutes late," and then he said nothing at all. Apparently, few minutes means 15 minutes later. Man. Now that he's not here, let me just point out how unreliable the. Oh, hey, what's up, David? How are you doing? You're muted. You're muted.
Are you talking trash over here?
No, I was just saying that that we have a little technical problem. That's all I was saying. Sup?
It's a technical problem in my tooth.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Never had a horrible molar pain before.
Never.
It's weird though, because it's supposed to start with a problem with cold. Mine only sends shocks of pain that go all through my head and in my body whenever anything hot touches this back molar. Anyway.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best.
Marie's got a friend who's a dentist, so it was there's a little discussion about whether I should see if the pain subsides a little bit here and there.
That's the best kind of tooth pain.
Yeah,
it's the best, the absolute best. I love it. So
it's not best, it's based.
It's based.
Based. Hey, have you seen? Man, there's stuff going on.
Yes. What have I seen?
I don't know. I woke up and there was all kinds of stuff going on.
You're sitting there watching Netflix.
That's why you're not seeing anything. No. Yes, there was today. Iran fired 180 ballistic missiles at Israel.
And let me guess how effective these ballistic missiles were as Iran tried to send a message to Hezbollah. Don't worry, we're defending you. We've got your back. We're not just going to sit back and do nothing while Israel completely annihilates your leadership and then comes in and crushes you. So we will fire these missiles and they will, let me guess, do nothing.
Well, you're not entirely right. So Iran did indeed strike Israel very heavily. And they said, we have taught Israel a lesson. We sent a strong message. They will never again mess with us again. And so far, the casualties of this from the strike are one person in the West Bank died.
Wasn't it something like that last time they did a strike? They did a strike like that, and it was just like one random Arab Bedouin died or something like that.
Yeah. What happened? Yeah. It was last time. It was in the Negev desert. They one Bedouin died. That's true. That's what they do.
They're powerful. And hey, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's something called suicide by cop. You familiar with this?
No.
It's like if you don't want to
oh yes, I do.
Yeah. So let's suppose you don't have a gun to shoot yourself with or something like this. You can just grab a knife and just charge. There are people who would just grab a knife and charge the cop, and then the cop will shoot them. And so it's called suicide by cop. You want to kill yourself, just go charge a cop. There needs to be something for terrorists that's like suicide by Israel. Like just keep going, just keep screwing with Israel, right? Just keep doing it. They'll put up with it for a long time, and then they'll kill you.
That is funny.
And so Hamas leaders were committing suicide by Israel. Hezbollah leaders were committing suicide by Israel. And now it looks like Iranian leaders are committing suicide by Israel.
That's what they do. Well, the results of it are, again, as said, quite mild, quite weak. Most of the vast majority of the missiles, Iran says, were directed at military targets. In reality, they weren't. They were just indiscriminately all over Israel, and including the West Bank. Israel intercepted the vast majority of the missiles, also with the help of with America, with an American destroyer ship also intercepting missiles, and only few landed and caused some damage. We even had footage of one of them landing somewhere right next to a road as a car was driving by. But yeah, that's basically what happened, and these are huge missiles, by the way. So,
and this is these are stupid moves in the sense that Iran seems significantly weaker than you would have thought as far as military goes, right? You would have thought, oh, they've got tons of stuff over there. And as long as they keep their stupid mouths, I mean, as long as they don't actually fire their stuff, you think, oh, man, this war could be a bloodbath. Please, let's not get Iran involved in this because Iran is so powerful. And they fire a bunch of stuff, and then Israel shoots it all down. So you think, okay, whatever missiles these guys have and however effective they might be against someone who didn't have a very sophisticated defense system, they really, really, really don't work much at all against Israel. There's certain, look, man, suppose you're a bully and everyone's scared of you because you're big and they think you can fight. And then you actually go and you take a swing and then like you have the stupidest punch in the world and so on. And then someone taps your jaw and you fall over. It was better for you not to swing, right? Everyone thought you were really tough. It's like that with Putin, right? It's like that with Putin. I grew up in the 80s where the Soviet Union was like the other superpower. It's like, if we go to war, the United States and the Soviet Union go to war, it's over for the entire world. The entire world is going to be destroyed because of the power of these two clashing nations and so on. Then the Soviet Union collapsed and, and then you got Russia, but you're still thinking, okay, Russia has all that stuff. Russia has all those weapons and so on that they had before. So I don't know, still really powerful. And then my entire life, I think of Russia as like, okay, there's the United States and then there's Russia. There's Russia, really, really powerful. And then they invade Ukraine. And I think, oh, man, this is going to be over in like 3 days. I know the Ukrainians are way tougher than like the people in Afghanistan were, so they just run from the Taliban. I knew the Ukrainians would fight. The Ukrainians would, and I don't actually mean three days or something like that, but I thought that would be over very quickly, a couple months or something like that. I knew the Ukrainians would fight. They are tougher people. But this has been going on for years now, and like it completely altered my thinking. It's like, you guys are a lot weaker than I thought you were you're having so much trouble. But it's like that with all these groups. You and me for the past year, man, Hezbollah way more powerful than Hamas. Man, hope they don't lock up with Hezbollah. Boom, entire leadership gone in a couple days. We would have kept thinking as Hezbollah is this super powerful terrorist force if they didn't push Israel's buttons until Israel actually took out their entire leadership. We would right now be thinking, wow, these Hezbollah guys are way, way, way more powerful than Hamas. Instead, we're sitting here thinking, man, Hamas is a freaking joke. I mean, Hamas is a joke. Hezbollah is a joke. And now we would have been sitting here thinking, man, yeah, Israel may have taken out Hezbollah, but hopefully Iran doesn't get involved. If Iran didn't twice now fire a volley of rockets that did absolutely nothing. So the actual outcome of everything is, I think they're a bunch of pathetic, weak babies throwing tantrums, not these powerful forces.
Well, it is indeed a pattern of always severely overestimating the power of these. Honestly, I always thought that from everything that I knew about Russia and their military force and capabilities and training and equipment, I thought that much of the expectations of Russia's strength were heavily overblown. It's probably like severely overhyped. They were probably not going to be that strong. But then they turned out to be I don't know, weaker than I actually thought. It's and very, very incompetent as well. Very incompetent. And I heard about the Russian incompetence before, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. With Hezbollah has been a formidable opponent to many countries and many forces. The thing is, I think there's also another factor here involved, which is that Israel is very, very damn strong. Israel is very hard, especially when it comes to security services the Mossad and the secret services together collaborating with the IDF and carrying out these attacks. They have just been brutal in their attacks on Hezbollah to quickly take out within 1 week, within just a few days, the entire leadership of Hezbollah after they have been terrorizing the region for decades. It's nuts, you know.
And I mean, we already know what's about to happen because Netanyahu, in his little message to Iran, and just so you know, when we take out the entire leadership of Iran, we're liberators. We're liberating them. Which in this case, it's actually true, right? You have a majority in that nation who do not want these guys in charge, and he's kind of setting the stage for, hey guys, when we start taking out Iran's leaders, we're liberating the population there. So anyway, plan does seem to be they're about to do something with Iran. And it's just this might actually work, man. I mean, all of this might actually. I mean, if you take out Hamas and Hezbollah and the mullahs in Iran are overthrown, I mean, the Middle East is a totally different place there over a period of basically about a year.
Yeah. Well, the warning here. Defense Minister Noav Galan said Iran has not learned its lesson.
Look at that dude, man. Dude.
Iran has not learned its lesson. Very, very simple.
All that dude needs is some thug life glasses, and man.
So he says Iran has not learned its lesson. Netanyahu gave a little announcement. Representative to the United States said that the response to what Iran did will be very painful. So I don't know.
I believe these guys.
So far, they have only Hebrew statements on their X page. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you've seen the speech by. Did you see the speech by Netanyahu?
Yep.
Addressed at the message at Iran.
That's what I'm talking about. He's like he's already explaining. He's like he's preemptively explaining. Hey guys, when we take out Iran's leadership, just so you know, we're liberating the people there. So don't think of us as mean bullies and so on. Isn't it crazy? It's like when Israel goes after Iran, people are gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, they're going after Iran. What has Iran ever done?" I don't know. Terrorize everyone for decades, being behind all these different terrorist movements for decades, getting people to attack all kinds of people for decades. And finally someone says, you know, I mean, all Western nations will do is like, okay, we're going to put these sanctions on you for a little while. And then the next regime comes in and they're going to remove those sanctions and hand you billions and billions of dollars. And then the next regime will come in and do this. And no one actually ever deals with the problem. It's like they're going, okay, fine. We're going to deal with all the problems that no one else will deal with in the entire world. And I kind of believe that they're actually going to go deal with these problems that no one else wants to deal with. But it seems preemptive here that when this happens, it will already be in people's minds that the people of Iran are being liberated. And I just want to say, we've talked about this before, that the U.S. kept trying to do things like, hey, if we take out Saddam, then freedom and democracy will flourish. And it didn't work. And they wanted to do the same thing with Assad, but he actually was brutal enough to stay in power. But then Gaddafi, right? It's in our minds, hey, get rid of the evil leaders and freedom and democracy will flourish. And we're sitting there thinking it's not actually going to work. The people you don't have that kind of people. You have some, to be clear, you have some people who want freedom and democracy and so on. You also have tons of like extremely aggressive, violent terrorists and stuff who want to go on a killing spree. And the only reason they weren't was because they were scared of the dictator. And if you remove the dictator, now they're not scared anymore, and they're not scared of the puppets of Western nations. They know they're not gonna be brutal enough to stop all the terrorists and so on. So anyway, you end up with groups like ISIS and so on. But anyway, the point is taking out the evil leaders doesn't always work. In Iran, it might actually work. You have a different kind of population there. You have a population where you might have enough people to pull off freedom and democracy. if the evil leaders are taken out.
Hey, we have a little update here. I'm not sure what part of it is verified, but so this is verified footage from Jenin in the West Bank, Judea Samaria, where they were celebrating. They were celebrating after Iran fired ineffective missiles at Israel.
Yay!
But that's not all. That's
We're
not all.
completely weak, and we've been exposed.
So innocent civilians here were celebrating. But then we have an update here, which is I'm not sure how verified this is yet, but apparently and allegedly during the celebrations, they killed a kid through a stray bullet.
Oh, when these guys all, oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly the how far that is verified yet, but that's what it looks like. I'm seeing multiple sources say that same thing, which just came out half an hour ago or so. The results of this so far is just Iran killing one Gazan Palestinian Arab guy who went from Gaza to the West Bank and
whoa.
What?
Are you saying Iran just committed genocide?
Yes,
in the
that's
West
what they
Bank?
did. That's what they did.
They just committed genocide.
So Iran committed genocide in the West Bank, and then on top of that, West Bank guys celebrating also committed
their own genocide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they committed genocide too. Multiple genocides in the West Bank.
This is just so.
When Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think.
I believe him. I believe it. When I hear any of these other guys, like your hero Erdogan or anything, when I hear any of these guys say, I don't believe anything they're saying. It's all chest thumping and stuff. When Netanyahu says, I believe him. I take him seriously.
Erdogan is just, soon we will come.
We will take over the world.
We will do that, and soon, one day.
I mean, how delusional are they?
Free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think.
It's very, very, very. It's a very, very interesting message. That moment will, not might, will come sooner than people think.
Hey! He should have gone like this. He should have gone. When Iran is liberated, and that time will come a lot sooner than. Let's see, what time is it now? Okay, 8:31. Okay, you got a little bit of time. When that moment will come. Tick tock, Iran.
That's
tick tock. Set your affairs in order. Ayatollah. I'm telling you, set your affairs in order. Go kiss your wives. Well, I don't know what you got. Your kids. Go give them a kiss, hug them, spend some time with them. Then get as far away from them as possible. Stay away from your kids.
They issued more evacuation warnings for people in Lebanon, the IDF, just half an hour ago, saying these are targets. Any civilians, get out of that region. The funny thing is after Israel issued these warnings, Amnesty International said Israel just told people to evacuate. Civilians must be protected. Civilians must be protected. I don't understand. Like they're literally telling the civilians to get out of the way because they have to conduct an operation. And then there is Amnesty International saying civilians have to be protected. Civilians have to be protected. Civilians have to be protected. Very, very stupid. Very, very stupid.
Pretty dumb.
Here is, let's see. Oh, here is one of those missiles.
You!
So this is what Iran says were missiles fired at military targets. What a military target.
There's a military base behind that road sign right there.
Yeah. They're hiding right there. The military is
They're
hiding. behind
hiding.
this
You're hiding, boy. You're hiding.
guy. All right. Anyway, let's look at our favorite guy. Where's our favorite guy? Where did he go? Where did I put this man?
You lost it, man.
No, you lost it.
I only saw the first few seconds where they gave the preview where it's what is your authority to say these things? My authority is the universe. I speak by the authority of the universe. You gotta love this dude, man. I like it because there's something off about him, right? He has been messed up by what he experienced young in life, and he uses it for good. I like that. I like being messed up and using your mental problems for good. Everyone is watching out there. If you grow up and you've got some mental problems, think, how could these be an advantage if they're used for good?
Inshallah. Have you seen this thumbnail, by the way?
Oh yeah, with Shank, I saw that. That was hilarious. Pierce is just being. I don't know if it's Pierce or like assuming he's got tech guys, but Pierce probably takes a look at him and stuff like that. But they know what they're doing now. They know what they're doing with Shank. Look, they got the pretty blonde. They got the pretty blonde. Looks like she's posing for a modeling session. They got Shank right beside her. Ah!
This is very fun. They put her for. Was she? Oh yeah, that is an actual instance of her being there on the screen. That's funny. So they have good footage of her.
Yeah.
Okay, footage of this guy, and then him just
regular speaking shots of Piers and that other dude, and then a glamour shot of the chick, and then Jank.
All right, are you ready? Let's look at this.
The fact that he calls every Muslim in the world untrustworthy, says everybody who identifies as Muslim is a predator, compares Muslims to animals. He is not a serious human being, and you can see the utter bigotry in every word.
I speak on the authority of the universe, that Iran and its proxies,
the universe.
and the Muslim world behind it. There is going to be only the language of fire.
I speak on the authority of the universe. There's only going to be the language of fire.
That's fine.
To antagonize Israel by proxy. For decades, Iran has used its militias to antagonize Israel by proxy and to protect itself from its sworn enemy, the United States. That strategy has now been obliterated, along with Hezbollah's entire chain of command. Its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, was killed in an enormous strike on his headquarters in Beirut on Friday, an assassination that's been 18 years in the making. You would know, though, from some of the commentary this weekend, but Nasrallah was a terrorist. He propped up Assad's murderous regime in Syria. He trained fighters in Hamas, as well as violent militias in Iraq and Yemen. He ordered strikes on Israel in the immediate aftermath of October the 7th. The world is a better place without him. But is it safer? Could it
sounds like something. Whoa, Piers sounding like AP right now.
Wow, man.
Piers sounding like AP right now, man. World would be a better place if everyone I disagree with just died.
How can you say the world is a better place without this terrorist? Why would you say that?
A nuclear bomb is now the only recourse for defense. Israel's just announced that it intends to launch a ground incursion into Lebanon, and it could start as early as today. Meanwhile, 1 million Lebanese have
already... That's very funny. That was before it started. Wait, what? That was the day it started, wasn't it? When did this come out? September 30th. That was yesterday? Oh, yeah. Okay. Funny.
We've been displaced by the escalating conflict, which is 1/5 of the entire population. The civilian death toll is rising. The war in Gaza rages on. Nasrallah has met a deservingly grim end, but the crisis in the Middle East may have only just begun. In a moment, I'll be speaking to the Iranian-American academic, Professor Mohammed Morandi, who's in Beirut. But first, returning to Uncensored to discuss the fallout, the son of Hamas's founder and former Palestinian militant Mossab Hassam Youssef, and the Palestinian-American commentator Omar Badr. Well, welcome to both of you. Mossab, let me start with you. Your response to the killing of Hassan Nasrallah.
He was a terrorist.
Nasrallah, his hands are stained with blood. Not only Jewish blood, but also Arab blood. He participated in the killing of hundreds of thousands of Syrians along the Russian forces and along Bashar al-Assad forces. This man has been or had been destabilizing the security of the.
It's kind of funny how he corrected himself after saying his.
Had been. This man is, I mean, was. It'd be funny if he did that every time he spoke. And let me tell you what he is. I mean, was.
Middle East, and this was the time to put an end for this bullying and this blackmailing and this act of terror.
I mean, Omar Badr, are you sorry that he's dead?
What a question to open with.
Do you condemn?
So he says Omar Badr. This guy is Omar Badr, who is an American Palestinian commentator. Obviously not as it seems on the surface, not as big of an insider as Musab Hassan Youssef here is. But yeah, let's see.
But he'll explain everything for everyone anyway, right?
Yeah. Oh, I looked him up, and I'm just glad that he's using pronouns he, him. Okay, that's good.
Oh, good.
Now I know how to
Good.
refer to him. Okay. Omar Badr, he, him. Okay, good. Oh, good. I was right. I was right.
Piers, before I answer your question, I think there's something that your audience has to know about Musab, who's on this program. If we can see if he's going to be able to control his temper.
Why are you attacking him?
From telling the audience this about him, is the fact that he calls every Muslim in the world untrustworthy, says you can't trust any Muslim, says everybody who identifies as Muslim is a predator, compares Muslims to animals, and the list goes on and on and on. And Piers,
hey, pause.
Anybody?
Yes.
Wait a minute. He thinks it's wrong to compare people to animals? Huh? Is that what he just said?
Yes.
Wait. To be clear, he believes it's wrong and immoral.
Yeah.
To compare people to animals?
I know what you're going to say. The one thing
is
is this guy apparently he says he identifies as an agnostic.
Ah, okay.
Well,
then, so he would have an equal problem with. Look at the smile. Look at the smile.
I know.
So he would have an equal problem with Musab and the Quran, although more of a problem with Allah and Muhammad, because they have much more say over what people think. So, in other words, Muhammad and the Quran would be way worse for comparing people to animals and issuing blanket statements about entire groups and so on.
I'm going to tell you one thing here, everybody. This is a great secret, and it shouldn't be a secret. The average Muslim compares disbelievers to animals. Yes, the average Muslim compares disbelievers, non-Muslims, to animals, especially Jews. Especially Jews are often referred to as monkeys and pigs or rats. So, or, mice, whatever it is. So this is a very, very normal thing in the Muslim population. So if, according to this guy, we're supposed to, disqualify anyone who does such a thing, then, man, we have to really have a problem with the entire Muslim world there. I learned my whole life long that basically that the Jews are animals, that the others are animals, that they're comparable or less than animals, and so on. The Quran teaches that Christians and Jews and those who disbelieve in the Quran are the worst of creatures. It literally describes them as the lowest of creatures, worse than cockroaches. So, which is why it's completely normal that the average Muslim holds such positions about non-Muslims.
Hey, AP. So,
yes.
I mean, think about what's going on here. Westerners are surprised when Musab says the kinds of things that he says. But let's think about this. He grows up in a culture where they're calling their enemies apes and pigs and things like that, worst of creatures, all these things. He grows up in that culture. That's how you insult someone. That's how you talk about your enemies. And then he leaves his terrorist past behind, He leaves Islam, but he still retains a bit of that. Okay, this is the position I oppose. Let me go ahead and talk about that position that way. And then everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, this is the most evil way that you can describe other people. You're the most evil person in the world." And it's exactly how he was raised in Islam to talk about people.
Yeah.
Weird.
And here's the Quran. Indeed, those who disbelieve from the people of the book, meaning Jews and Christians, and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell to stay there forever. They are the worst of all beings.
Worse than
The
dogs?
worst of all beings. Worse than dogs, worse than cockroaches,
Worse than bed
worse than
bugs?
flies, worse than bed bugs. Indeed, those who believe and do good, they are the best of all beings. So Muslims are the best, and non-Muslims are the worst of all creatures. This is what the Quran is literally teaching, which is why this is also a totally normal belief. It's quite funny because you will see Muslims go around and talk about the idea of the chosen people when they misunderstand the idea of the chosen people. But Muslims themselves are the ones who actually have the concept which they accuse Jews of having. Of seeing themselves superior and everyone else inherently or in general low or worse than cockroaches and so on. This is an Islamic view.
Dude, don't we see this like 50 times a day? This is what Israel is doing. This is what Jews doing. Or in this case, this is what Masab Hassan Yusuf is doing. And everyone, this is so evil. This thing that Israel or the Jews or Masab, this is so evil what they're doing. And it's exactly what Islam does. And it's like they're blasting it for it. So I tweeted this like what, early this morning or last night or something? Yeah, early this morning. Oh no, where'd it go? Oh yeah, Bassem Yusuf. No, that was yesterday. But Bassem Yusuf posted, and for a couple seconds, I think he's talking about Islam. Like, whoa, is he talking about Islam? So Bassem Yusuf says, kill, steal, expand, settle, push people to the brink. They resist, they fight back. I need to defend myself, kill more, steal more, expand, settle hard, rinse and repeat. Israel in a nutshell. What are you talking? That is Islam for 14th century. That is a perfect description of what Islam has done from the time of Muhammad down to the present. All you would need to do at any point in there is, if fighting doesn't work, then start whining and playing victim. And it would be the perfect description of the playbook of Islam for 14 centuries.
Oh, I saw the same post. That's why I corrected it.
You corrected it. That's good.
Yeah, I corrected it. And honestly, anyone who at this point argues or tries to argue that, oh, Zionists are the one who are trying to oppress everyone and steal their land, and they are the reason why this fight is ongoing, they are liars. Either they're complete liars or they don't know anything about this conflict and presume to know and then talk about it. In either case, they're again liars. It is so sickening because these people are I mean, by their own standards, they are unreliable, lying, scummy scammers who rely on a completely twisted history here. It is not the Zionists who are fighting. The only reason, right? I will debate anyone on this. The only reason why we are fighting today, why Israel and the others are fighting today, is that the enemies of Israel do not want the Israelis or Jews to exist and to be free and to be independent. They keep fighting forever now. And then they turn around and start complaining and say, well, the Zionists won't leave us alone. The Zionists won't leave us alone. Such a pack of liars. But anyway, I will reserve this because we will get to more of that here.
Engaged in that kind of bigotry towards, say, Jews, you would not give them airtime to appear on a compares Muslims to animals, and the list goes on and on and on. And Piers, I think both of us know that if anybody engaged in that kind of bigotry towards, say, Jews, you would not give them airtime to appear on a program as if they're a real analyst who's here with something to say.
That's false. I've seen multiple guests who hold such views about Jews and who have been guests on Piers Morgan's show.
Yeah, God, what planet does this guy live in? He wouldn't do it. Pierce wouldn't allow anyone who has a really negative view of Jews on his program. Are you freaking joking, you giant clown? Look at how Mossad is just sitting there though, and he's just sitting there.
And on top of these,
Look at him.
there's also the fact that he is simply just not a serious person. You know, puts on this really.
Whoa.
Wait,
He's
let
not
him speak.
hang
Let
on.
him
He's
speak.
not a serious. That is the
I know,
most
he's going to
serious
elaborate. Let him
person I've
speak.
ever seen in my entire life.
Let him elaborate. Let him speak. Wait, let him speak.
Just not a serious person. You know, puts on this really dumb, put on angry face and barks incredibly shallow slogans about Israel being wonderful and its opponents being terrible and terrorists and so on. It's not really a real point of analysis. With that being at the forefront, I'll say that I think what Israel did in Lebanon and is doing is don't take my.
It's so funny because he's just totally, he's just taking it like that, unbothered, quite
I know.
unbothered by it.
That's the true meaning of based. I don't care what you can whine about me all day. I just don't care.
He just, with his big smile, smiles it off.
And it's funny how he goes back and forth. He'll sit there, he'll nod, he'll rock in his chair a little bit, he'll get a big smile, then he'll go back to glaring.
My word for it. Listen to what Israeli leaders themselves have said about the assassination of Nasrallah. They said they could have and wanted to reach a diplomatic agreement with Hassan Nasrallah, but his insistence on ending the genocide in Gaza as a precondition to them reaching a diplomatic solution led them to choose to assassinate him and killing hundreds of Lebanese civilians in the process.
It wasn't the 10,000 rockets.
Entire apartment buildings.
Look, listen. Let's say we create a group, right? We create a group because Hezbollah is repeatedly shooting at Israel for an entire year. Let's say we organize a group in Lebanon, and this group goes around murdering, massacring Shia Lebanese Muslims inside Lebanon. When then this group is told to stop murdering Lebanese Shia Muslims, the group then responds and says, we will only stop once Hezbollah stops firing at Israel. Would that be okay? Would that be cool? Would it then just be expected? Okay, well, if that's how it's gonna stop, then yeah, Hezbollah should just stop. They should just listen to this mob. They should just listen to this mob. Like, just listen to the mob. Just do what the mob says. Who the hell is Hezbollah? Who put them in charge? And this is a lie too. Hezbollah jumped in on October 8th. October 7th, October 8th, they jumped in after Hezbollah fired, after Hamas invaded Israel and killed 1,200 people. Okay? They participated in the invasion and the attack of Israel. You can't attack and commit atrocities and then say, wait, let's calm down, let's make peace on my conditions, let's do ceasefire on my conditions, yeah? Let's do ceasefire on my conditions. No, you started, you fired, and you didn't stop. Now you will have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, think about what this dummy just said. He said, so Israel was saying they would prefer a diplomatic solution with Hezbollah, but Hezbollah has said that they're not going to have that diplomatic solution until things are settled with Gaza. So what's that mean? He's leaving out a big part of endlessly firing rockets at Israel. So what you're saying is, what if you expanded that to include the reality, it would be Israel saying, hey, guys, we'd like a diplomatic solution with you. And they're saying, no, we're going to endlessly fire rockets at you until you do what we say with Gaza. And Israel saying, oh, if you're saying there is no diplomatic solution until we do what you want, and we know we're not going to do what you want, then you're saying there is no diplomatic solution here. Okay, if there is no diplomatic solution, then why would we seek a diplomatic solution? We're just going to take out all your leaders. So you guys have closed the door on the diplomatic solution. He makes it look like Israel is closing the door on the diplomatic solution. No, it's Hezbollah saying, you do what we want over here, or no diplomatic solution. Israel said, okay, no diplomatic solution then. We'll take out your entire leadership.
Yep.
Who's that on?
That's it.
So in essence, Israel is choosing to incinerate Lebanese civilians, to assassinate Nasrallah, because they don't want peace in Gaza.
They've chosen genocide.
And the fact that you can look at this and still not figure out what moral policy should be and who's to blame for this kind of path of escalation that we're on, to me is completely
Okay, but
mind-boggling. It is
You are an absolute freaking hypocrite. You are an absolute hypocrite. Okay, you're an absolute asshole. Just an absolute hypocrite. You have on one hand Israel for decades, for 100 years or more, repeatedly simply wanting to coexist in peace and have mutual recognition. You have Israel offering the Gazan and West Bank Palestinian Arabs actually the recognition of saying, hey guys, let's recognize each other, right? Let's come to an agreement. Let's recognize each other. Let's recognize each other's statehood. Let's make peace. In all honesty, right? In all honesty, I think Israel never needed to do that because the other side clearly does not deserve it. The other side didn't deserve it in the 40s. They didn't deserve it in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. They don't deserve it today. They don't deserve it. They don't appreciate it because their culture is a murderous culture, a murderous death cult culture. That is basically what it is. They don't deserve mutual recognition. They don't deserve land. They don't deserve a statehood. They don't deserve any of these things until they agree to change their culture and become a peaceful culture that actually focuses on developing, on building things, on creating functioning societies. When they start building instead of destroying, when they start protecting life instead of taking life, when they start researching instead of destroying things and building tunnels, when they start building shelters instead of building tunnels and turning every resource given to them into missiles, they don't deserve anything. Israel, after decades, after almost 100 years of being attacked by these animals, kept saying, how about we make a deal and have mutual recognition? Maybe Israel should have never done this. Should have never, ever done this. But whatever, Israel did do it. In the end here, it is not Israel that is responsible for having a conflict, having fights. It's not Israel that is responsible for any of this. Israel wants peace. The other side doesn't. The other side doesn't get to then make their demands after all of this. And especially not after you invade Israel and kill 1,200 people and kidnap more of them. Over 300 of them simply killed at a music festival. All they were doing was dancing and having fun. And you go in there with your terrorist organization and massacre them. And then you really want to be part of negotiations? Then you really want to have ceasefire? You should be eradicated. Yes, your group entirely, Hamas, and anybody associated with it should be eradicated. You don't deserve to have any say in any diplomatic solution. You have lost that chance many, many times. And
This is what
Hezbollah
happens.
is
What
the
happens
same.
when Turks grow up in Germany and watching speeches of little mustache guy?
Well, if you believe, in fact, you could go even further and say, if you believe, and if it's part of your ideology to eradicate the Jews, and that is the ideology that that most of those people hold, and that Hamas holds, and that other terrorist organizations like them also hold. If that is your belief, and if this is part of your policy and your goals to eradicate the Jews, then I'm sorry, I wouldn't advocate for it, but you shouldn't even have a problem with others saying, how about we eradicate you instead? It's basically self-defense.
Hey, P, as far as the general vibe goes, doesn't it seem like the vibe is shifting a little bit? Like if you go back 6 months, it seemed like just everywhere, just death to Israel, death to Israel, death to Israel,
Yeah.
from the river to the sea. And now, I don't know, you still have it. And a matter of fact, there's a people have been sharing they're having this descend on New York City for October 7th. So they're having a big thing on October 7th for Gaza and so on. I wonder why they picked October 7th. But I don't know. It seems like lots of the people, their true colors are coming out, and then people are realizing, oh, this is evil. It's like with that chick you watched, Marwa, whatever her name is, Marwa Osman, and she started responding, October 7th is the greatest day, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, whoa! People are looking at that, going, whoa! If you had people who are kind of on the fence or not sure what to believe, or they think Israel's the aggressor, and then they see people like, that's the greatest day in our memory, and it's like, then whoa, that's kind of evil and sick and messed up.
Well,
It's like people are catching on to what Israel's actually dealing with. It's like they're, because in people's minds, because of the propaganda, in people's minds, there's a bunch of innocent people over here, and Israel just keeps oppressing them until they're like, oh, please don't do it, and then Israel like crushes them even more. That's what's going on in lots of people's minds, and then it's like people are catching on right now. Whoa, Israel has actually got a lot of people around them who just want really, really bad things, and who love really, really bad things, and who celebrate rape and torture and all this stuff. And maybe they need to be pretty tough with these guys. Maybe they just need to crush. Maybe you just need to crush these guys. That's what it seems like. Seems like turning a corner.
She's the star of the whole week, maybe of the year. We should probably play this one more time.
Tell you that it's out of control. Mo, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
You should put this as a try not to laugh. Try not to laugh. AP.
We now have official confirmation from the Hezbollah group of the death of Hassan Nasrallah. What's your response, please? I'm so sorry. Let's.
Why'd they have to put a picture out, man? Why? Would it have been good to see that little transition? Because they put the picture up for a couple seconds and then she's totally different, right? So something happened, right? Like, and we don't get the actual.
I actually made a song for her, which I'm still working on, but it's basically in the rudimentary phases here.
You can get AI to make her speak to sing it.
Oh Hassan, my Nasrallah, with your turban so tight, your beard so thick like hummus on bread, how you terrorize hearts, now mine feels so dead. Oh Hassan, my habibi, with Allah as your guide, you launched a war without victory in sight. With thousands of missiles you captured my heart, but then Israel came and tore us apart, literally. Hassan, oh Hassan, you were my sweet flames. You terrorized nations, but I loved you the same. A proxy of tyranny with war in your plans. I miss your explosions, I'm your #1 fan. The street.
Yeah, anyway, so this is currently...
That's pretty good in bass, man. You need to wrap that up quickly and get it out there, because she's still popular. Not gonna be popular next week.
I am preparing it right now. I actually created a second channel just to put this out there.
And as I pointed out, there's AI software that will make her sing it.
It's obvious that Israel is out of control. It's on a warpath.
All right, look, you've launched a substantive ad hominem attack on your other panelist, which is entirely your prerogative, and he can respond. But you also asked my simple question: are you sorry he's dead?
I look at it in terms of the impact on civilians, which in this case, I think his assassination has made things infinitely more dangerous. We're seeing this onslaught. So yes,
taking out a terrorist is always bad for civilians.
It's always so difficult for people like this to answer a simple question.
A question. Do you personally feel sorry that he is dead, the head of Hezbollah?
No, look, but that's the thing. I don't have individual personal feelings about players here. For me, what I'm concerned about...
Really? Answer the freaking question.
...on innocent people.
Look at himself.
Musab is so entertained by
He's loving life.
What I'm concerned about is ultimately the impact on innocent people. Absolutely. Look, Nasrallah, if you want me to talk about his legacy, that's a really easy thing to do. He was a hero throughout the entire Arab world for having driven Israel out of South Lebanon in 2000, for delivering Israel its first defeat in 2006. And then his record, had a major blemish on it when he intervened in the Syrian civil war for geopolitical reasons on the side of the government. And that upset a lot of Syrians who are essentially repressed and brutalized by the Syrian government to see that he has intervened in order to help them maintain power. But that was more a geopolitical decision more than it is a moral decision. And so he has a mixed record. And a lot of people like him and a lot of people don't. But ultimately, there's no question about the fact that he is a major figure in the region that has a significant fan base, not just within Lebanon, but throughout the entire region. And that taking this major escalatory step, when we've had the alternative, we've had the option of a ceasefire, and Israel chose not to take.
So many words just to avoid the answer to a very simple question.
Are
Always.
you sad? Hey, look, that flower over there got smushed. Are you sad about that? Well, let me tell you, back when I was 7, no, dude, are you sad? Are you sad about that? Well,
I don't really think about it that way.
Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about the universe. So what is sadness? What is sadness really? Psychologists say, shut up, dude. Answer the freaking question.
And sadness has also been described in this and that way in certain poems, and it goes as far back as literature itself, and before then as far back as human existence. And when it comes to the flower, botanics is not really my field. However, if we want to talk about it.
Take that and chose the path of escalation, and taking out a major figure is obviously pushing us towards further catastrophe. And it's materializing right now in Lebanon as we're watching Israeli terrorism decimate the civilian population in all.
How do you feel about the death of the terrorist leader?
Parts of Lebanon, and that's a really, really dangerous escalation.
Okay, Mossab, first of all, your response to the personal attack that was launched on you at the start of...
Piers should have said, okay, you refuse to answer. Now, Mossab will... And then go on to Mossab.
Or he should have
refused to answer. He keeps doing that because this happens over and over again. He'll ask a question, they'll say a bunch of words, not answer the question, and then he'll say he's clearly thinking, okay, they're not answering, so I'll just move on. But he should just point that out. Okay, you're not answering.
Maybe he should have a thing. If you join the show, you have to agree prior to joining that you will answer all questions directly, and if you refuse to answer questions directly for 3 times in a row, then you will be kicked out.
No. It's totally wrong. We're hooking this circuit up to you, and if you do not answer, I have a button that will shock you, and as you continue to not answer, it will deliver increasingly powerful shocks to you until I have the ability to just render you unconscious with a powerful shock.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm not going to comment on that. I know who I am. I know what I am. I'm not a commentator on the Middle Eastern
conflict. By your own admission.
I lived the conflict. I witnessed. I'm an eyewitness. I lived half of my life in what's so-called Palestinian society, and I spent the other half of my life with the Jewish community. When I speak on the authority of experience.
I find it funny that he says, what's so-called Palestinian society.
That is representing both cultures. One culture is a culture of death that has been sacrificing.
Look at his finger. It was very, very obvious what he's doing here.
One culture is a culture of death.
And this dude's grinning.
It was probably totally unintentional, but maybe it's just subconscious. I don't know. One culture.
Been sacrificing children for political and financial gain. And Omar is coming here to the West, carrying the false Palestinian identity, hiding behind a couple of Western values, trying to manipulate and deceive American and Western audience by showing somebody like Hassan Nasrallah and Ayatollah and Sinwar and the rest of the proxy leaders. These people are reckless. They started the war on October 7, and Israel had the right to defend itself. And Hezbollah has been launching missiles on civilians. They just killed 12 children as the whole world is watching on a playground. And that was Druze community, which is a great part of the Lebanese community.
Why is this guy shake? We have another head shaker here.
Yeah, I like that. That's the new thing, right? Just the refutation of the head shake. It doesn't matter how accurate you are in everything you're saying, or how instantly, easily verifiable everything you're saying is, as long as I just shake my head the entire time.
Yeah, what Mossab just said here is completely factual. It's not even up to discussion or interpretation. This is entirely factual. Why is this guy shaking his head?
Druze community, as the whole world is watching on a playground. And that was Druze community, which is a great part of the Lebanese community.
What is he shaking his head about?
Yeah,
Hezbollah launched missiles. The missiles landed in a field, a football field, I believe, in the Golan Heights, as a result of which 12 young people, children, died who are from the Druze community. This is
what's this guy denying? That the Druze are part of the? What's he denying?
And no one leashed Hassan Nasrallah. How many times Omar and Mustafa's and Muhammad's complained or protested against Hezbollah aggression, taking advantage of Israel bleeding in the south?
I'm sorry.
And he was totally
Omar's
mistaken.
And Mustafa's and Muhammad's?
Hassan
What are we referring?
Why is this guy interrupting? Like, he just sat there and quietly listened to this guy's drivel.
I haven't seen this, but I'm pretty darn sure he's going to tell him to be quiet and I didn't interrupt you.
I hope
Because
so.
he does that.
Oh,
He always just sits there.
saying.
What's that?
I saw a clip of him saying, "Why are you interrupting me?" I did see a clip of that. Yeah.
He always does that. He sits there. He'll sit there. They can go on a 10-minute monologue. He'll usually sit there unless it's picked up steam and stuff and everyone's interrupting each other and stuff like that. But he'll usually sit there. And then when he starts talking, they have to start interjecting. And then I sat here for 20 minutes listening to you. You will shut your mouth and listen to me.
Yeah, he has a very good habit of simply listening, no matter how dumb the other side is and how horrible they are and how wrong they are. He will sit and listen, and then he will respond. Like, okay, let me respond now.
This is his punishment. Was taking advantage of Israel bleeding in the south.
I'm sorry.
And he was totally
Omar's
mistaken.
And Mustafa's and Muhammad's?
Hassan
What are we referring
Nasrallah
to?
today, this is his punishment. Israel is legitimate. When I stand for Israel, why do I stand for Israel? Because Israel is the most legitimate.
It's such a weird objection anyway. He said Muhammad, Mustafa, and something. He's just mentioning random names in the Arab world to point out that these random people do not loudly complain when Hezbollah kills a dozen kids. That is what he's pointing out here. It's quite obvious. And this guy's like, oh, wait, who is it? Who are those people? Are you dumb?
It's
ethnic group in the region with evidence, overwhelming evidence to relationship to that land.
Yeah.
Omar and
This
the
is just not a
Muslims
serious
have been
conversation.
trying for the past 1400 years to delegitimize and annihilate the Jewish people from that land. And they hate it so much that
This is not a
Israel
serious
is showing
argument.
resilience and strength. You ask Omar if he's sad. Omar is
Thank you.
mourning. Hassan Nasrallah is his hero. So let me tell Omar and his lights. Listen, you cannot rewrite history. And when I speak, I don't only speak on my own authority, I speak on the authority of the universe. That Iran and all its proxies
the universe.
and
You
the
speak on behalf
Muslim
of the
world
universe.
behind
Wonderful.
it.
No, this
if
is a very,
they
very
don't
serious conversation.
back
Yeah.
off, there is going to be only the language of fire. And you can sit here in
All
the
right.
West
Piers-
pretending to
Piers-
value the Western
Here goes the performative
All
outrage.
right.
This guy's begging Piers for help.
false
I'm sorry.
identity and your religion
All right.
and your entire
Let me-
population.
Let me get a
have
time.
no
This dude is not. This dude is not playing.
No, he don't play.
He's like a representation of like the mindset we keep talking about as far as Israel's concerned. It's like, okay, we're sick of putting up with this. You're going to complain about us no matter what. So fine, we will just crush you. Get used to it. If you don't leave us alone, we're going to make you stop. Either stop yourself or we're going to make you stop. We don't care. It's not working anymore. Calling us names, insulting us, not going to work anymore. I don't care anymore. You will get the language of fire. Powerful.
It's funny because he has this whole thing. He I think tries to contain himself most of the time, but then at some point he just can't resist anymore, and he just gets too angry. And then
That's what I'm saying. It reminds me of Israel. It's like we tried to rein it in. Okay, fine.
I mean, we deal with absolute idiots. People have repeatedly told me to look at this guy and to have a conversation with this guy, to have a debate with this guy, a discussion with this guy. I don't even know who this guy is. I've only heard since the whole conflict, since the war started. Dave Smith, who is apparently a darling of Candace Owens. He says Iran poses zero threat to this country. The people advocating war with Iran pose a major threat to this country. They are your enemy. Iran is not. Now, this is so imbecilic on so many levels. Just because a country doesn't actually pose a major existential threat to your country, that doesn't mean that they are not your enemy. If they want to be your enemy, which they obviously do, then they are your enemy. Those advocating war with Iran, nobody's actually advocating war with Iran, especially not for America. Nobody has come out and said, we as America should now go to war with Iran. America should now deploy troops in Iran. Like, this is the fallacy that I keep hearing from the very, very beginning here, from the very beginning of this war. Repeatedly, again and again, this whole dumb idea like, we will not go to war, I will not go fight for Israel. Who the hell is asking you to go fight for Israel?
No one.
Who the hell is saying
not even on the
we
table.
have to deploy people, Americans, in the Middle East? No single person suggested that. You absolute imbeciles. Nobody is bringing such a thing up. What is happening here is Israel is fighting Iran because Iran is a cancer. Sorry, not Iran. The Islamic regime of Iran is a cancer, a death cult. If you understand the Iranian Islamic,
and the people of Iran agree with us.
Yes, if you understand their ideology, you will know that this is a death cult, an apocalyptic,
literally apocalyptic death cult. Right?
Yes.
We're gonna start wars with everyone in the world until everyone in the world is crushing us, and this will cause Allah to send the Mahdi to rescue us.
Yes,
so that's the mindset of the leaders. That is what they're aiming at, and
if you
that's why
believe,
they're starting fights everywhere, terrorizing everyone. And like how insanely idiotic is this? So the only sense, I mean, Iran is definitely a threat in some sense because they destabilize everything and they terrorize everyone, right? They're behind Hezbollah, they're behind the Houthis, they're destabilizing everyone. They have carried out many successful terrorist attacks. And if you say Iran isn't a major threat to this country, then you have to be thinking in the sense that AP is talking about, that they're not an existential threat. They're not going to destroy the United States. They have 0% chance of that. But in that sense, he says they are your enemy as far as the people advocating war. Well, no, the people advocating, they're not an existential threat anyway. In other words, if a bunch of people say we should go to war with Iran, they're not an existential threat to the country either. That's not. In other words, whether you fight Iran or don't fight Iran, none of that is a threat to the existence of the United States. So what are you saying? It absolutely makes no sense. But yet, no one is talking about the United States sending 1 million soldiers to fight in Iran. The most the U.S. would do would be sanctions or something like that if it's long term, or helping get rid of some leaders so that the people rise up and take over. That's it.
Yeah. Iran has a state ideology. Okay, it's has a state ideology. Part of that state ideology is the idea of Mahdism. You can Google it and search up on it if you want to. Anyone who at this point suggests that all Iran wants is to establish peaceful relations and defend itself and be free and whatever it is and work toward the future doesn't know a single thing. Anyone who suggests such a thing is directly ignorant or is lying, because Iran is not built on that. Iran has an explicitly apocalyptic, eschatological, Mahdi state ideology that is about making the society of Iran itself as religious as possible and preparing them for the coming of the Mahdi, the Shia savior, who is supposed to then arrive in order to lead Shia Islam and dominate and subjugate the Middle East and the rest of the world, fight the infidels, fight the non-believers, the disbelievers, and bring about the end times, which also includes eradicating the Jews, of course, which is why this is always part of their ideology. So this is what Iran is, and an official slogan by Iran, which they teach children at school, is "Death to America, death to Israel." But yeah, Iran is not the enemy, bro. Iran just totally wants to just exist. That's it. Every single take by people like this about Iran and these terrorist organizations is insanely wrong.
Respect.
Let me call a timeout here. Omar, you can respond to this. I'm going to just go to the Professor Morandi for a moment to get his response to this. I will come back to you. What I would say, though, is you did choose to start the whole debate with a quite lengthy personal attack on Mossab. It's hardly surprising he would return the favor.
Merited.
I personally would prefer.
That's the difference, Piers.
I'd like
That's
all
the
the
difference,
guests
Piers.
to try and talk about the
Openly-
issues.
Openly bigoted. No, there's a difference between me pointing out the fact that he openly says that all Muslims are evil in comparison
Who cares, man? How is that relevant to the discussion, you absolute idiot?
to animals and engages in all kinds of the worst kind of bigotry imaginable, and him just inventing nonsense and just leveling it at me. By the way, I'm a secular agnostic. I'm pretty open about that. I've written about it. I don't know what he's talking about with the Muslim, whatever. Just you can see the bigotry in his engagement and about the Arab culture of death. In one breath, he says openly that the entire Arab world is made up of 300 million clowns. That is a direct quote of his. And on the other,
Look, he's smiling. Look at him grinning at what he said. Yes, that is what I said. And you're the proof. You're the proof of this. I thank you for proving my point. Now prove another point with the language of fire.
It's kind of funny when he quotes him on that. Wait, I want to hear that again.
is made up of three culture of death. In one breath, he says openly that the entire Arab world is made up of 300 million clowns. That is a direct quote of his. And on the other, he's feigning concern for Arabs who die because of Hezbollah. I mean, just the entire thing is just a silly charade. He is not a serious human being, and you can see the utter bigotry in every word that comes out of his mouth.
All right.
And the fact
It's kind of funny. Referring to people as clowns doesn't mean
that's
that
where
you are.
draw the line now. That's where you draw the line. He said, "Oh my goodness!" He said, "Clowns." All we say is death to Israel and exterminate the Jews, but he called us clowns. Oh my goodness! See, while we're victims.
Seriously, man, you think that is the big no, calling people clowns? That's it.
Shame on him. You should see how my daughter cries herself to sleep every night after he said clowns.
Especially if Mossab himself is an Arab and puts himself into the same category of all of them collectively clowns. That's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting, man.
he has no serious analysis to offer. Into
I want
this
to come back.
conversation.
I want to come back to both of you and talk seriously about.
I think Turks are a bunch of clowns. Does this now mean that I think that I have dehumanized and basically put Turks in concentration camps, which is basically what your Palestinian terrorists have been wanting to do? I don't know.
Is a very serious situation. It's been reported tonight that Israel is planning to launch an incursion, as they put it, a limited ground incursion into Lebanon, perhaps as early as tonight. This is obviously a massively important moment in this conflict. So let's try and talk about that when I come back. But I know I just want to bring in the Professor Mohammed Morandi. He's been on Uncensored before. He's currently in Beirut. Professor, thank you for joining me. First of all, do you mind me asking why?
This guy is an absolute piece of work. So I'm going to just read some super chats.
He looks like an Arab Dwight Schrute.
I wish. He's much worse. So Don said, AP, why don't you talk about Hijab's scamming business? It went almost unnoticed and Hijab's happy about it. Also, nobody talks about Sheriff Gabar's case. I don't know what to say about Sheriff Gabar's case. I've always been getting very, very conflicted vibes and messages from him. Not sure what to say. I just wish him all the best. When it comes to Mohammed Hijab, Mohammed Nabil Hijab, I shared it. I made it go around. I just myself didn't talk about it yet. Maybe some time. I don't know. Dire One says my over/under for the life was wrong. Hands on. Yes. Dire One for Baphomet and the daily goat sacrifice. Save the cats. Yeah. Abraham Harp, AP, you shut up. It's my turn. Is that what he said during this thing? I guess that's what you're referring to. The US VP debate is happening today at 9 on CBS. I wonder if the attack would be mentioned. Plus, will you guys be voting in the election this now? The vice president debate is happening tonight between those two dorks. I'm not
That's
gonna watch
tonight.
it. I don't care. Is that tonight?
Is it? I thought it was like
The red dork
Thursday.
versus
I thought it was like
blue
Thursday or
dork.
something.
Tim Dork against JD Dork.
You just seriously asked if I'll be voting in the election? No, I will not. I will never, ever vote in any election, ever.
Dork versus Dork debate is tonight, apparently. Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Well, this is better.
Two dorks going at each other. Two dorks. Who's gonna win? Which dork is gonna win?
If it turns out to be super entertaining, or they're good parts, then we might jump live and cover it tomorrow or something.
Are you kidding me, man?
Well,
super entertaining. These two guys.
If
together.
this debate tends to be action packed, here's the thing: they're both at this point in their careers, different kinds of communicators from Kamala and Trump. So
I don't think this is like the last thing that I would want to watch in my entire life would be these two guys talking.
does that dude wear mascara, man?
I hope so. I messaged you via X and email. I'll check it out. Primus, Muslims are mad at hijab because he played down the attack and reported on X that the attack basically failed. LOL, they literally hate each other. Did he? That's funny. I want to check it out.
Which attack? The Iran attack?
I guess today's attack. Let's see. He didn't even see that.
Hey, did you see dumb Jake Shields? He tweeted the IDF is using Israeli citizens as human shields. Is he stupid?
He has been using his brain as human shield.
Like a freaking idiot, man.
Summary of the attack: around 180 missiles launched with an estimated 150 landed, no casualties and only 2 people with minor injuries. Most of the rockets landed in non-civilian areas. Yeah, totally true. Attack was designed as a deterrent rather than one to cause casualties.
Yeah. Hey, here's Iran. We are going to destroy you and teach you a lesson with these powerful weapons. Oh, they didn't hit anything. Well, that was just a warning. We weren't trying. We weren't trying to kill anyone. We didn't want any. That was just a warning to get your attention.
Look at this. I'm surprised the Israeli rat Mohammed Hijab reposted this.
Whoa.
Just because he doesn't agree with them on the whole on Hezbollah, for example, and thinks that Iran is doing a terrible job. They are now even calling him an Israeli rat. Really, in order to be called a Jew or an Israeli rat, you really have to you can be a hardcore Islamist, but just disagree with them on one thing.
Yeah, this is a guy who's trying to take over the world and like establish a caliphate with himself as the caliph, hates Israel, and he is an Israeli rat. This is what I mean. The longer they don't win and the more powerless they feel, the more unhinged they become. It destroys them psychologically. We are supposed to be controlling the world and winning nonstop. And all that ever happens is we get crushed and we have no idea what to do about it except whine and complain and moan and wail. And they're all losing their minds and now they're all attacking each other.
This is so hilarious, man. The site that he retweeted is his own site. It's his own new commentary thing page. So
Salt.
It'd be funny if someone walked up and kicked that.
Like mockery. Okay.
Well,
this guy's calling it mockery, the attack. That's funny. Anyway, I'm happy to see that they are fighting. Based autistic JTV showed Dennis Prager giving an amazing response to Candace Owens. I was actually surprised at how wise and intelligent his answers to her were. Really? I should check it out.
We might want to check that out.
Albano Gukso said, "Hey, Daily Wire, took your advice and bought logos at the last minute." You see?
Hey, that's actually good choice. Let me know what you think. Definitely watch the tutorials. I do have to post a follow-up because So I posted my video on the last day that you could actually buy logos and massive discount because it's the last day. And I posted that, and then at night I have a big mailing list for the Act 17 community. So I sent out an email at night at like 6 something. Anyway, woke up the next day. I woke up today and people are saying, "Hey, why is this sale still going on when you said that yesterday was the last day?" So I checked. It was because of me, because I posted that like at 6 o'clock at night. They had all these messages this morning going, "I just saw this now. I just saw this now. Is it too late?" So they decided to extend it for a couple of days just because of people who were going there from my video and email. So yeah, they actually extended that a couple. That's what I was like, what? Oh no, I was thinking like, did they trick me into saying that this is like this last minute thing? They tricked me. They're like, nope, we extended it for a couple of days specifically because you sent out that message so late, and then people were they got a bunch of emails asking.
That would be fun. Pronode gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, lots.
Nice, Pronode.
I love Bibi. He's the best. Alhamdulillah. He's been handling this whole thing quite well. IP, you are raging Islamophobe, but at this point, even you must admit we need a ceasefire. Häagen-Dazs is getting too expensive because of these Zionist wars. That might be a perspective to take into consideration. Pronode, I usually have nothing to say, so I bring AP money through club members. Thank you, man. Thank you for expanding the cult. All of those who join will never be able to leave anymore in the future. Robin Hood, telling Iranian leaders to kiss their wives and children is redundant.
Did everyone get that thing? Kiss your wife and children. It's the same people. That's funny.
That was smart.
That reminds me of it was a Bill Hicks joke, and he was talking about he was a comedian way back in the day. He died, but he said that he went down south, and he said it was so weird because this guy comes up to me and he says, "I really love your show. Meet my wife and sister." And there was one lady standing there. He said, "Meet my wife and sister," and it was one lady. Anyway,
so Candace Owen.
Alhamdulillah. What is this?
Are you looking for the Prager clip?
Yeah, apparently he said he published a letter. It's too long. Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's a letter?
He said he published a letter to Candace Owens, and some people then read it. I don't know if he himself also said anything.
Who posts a letter in these days, especially when he has a huge video platform?
He wrote a giant letter.
This would be like you or me posting a letter response to someone instead of just making a video about it. Isn't there something weird about that?
I hereby publish this open letter to David Wood.
Yes, and I will only send it out via telegraph.
Ryan Kim. Have you seen Dennis Prager's letter to Candace? Okay, anyway, let's continue with the conversation. As much as I love Israel, the reality is Hamas and Hezbollah will still exist when this war is done. Sad but true, said Robert. Well, may or may not be true. Hamas probably will be taken care of in a brutal way. Hezbollah is to certain extents out of Israel's reach unless Israel wants to fully and completely occupy Lebanon, which they are not planning. So,
and the people seem to not understand the difference between completely eradicating a group and crippling the group. Can these groups still exist later? Sure. Will they have been crippled, like so that they're incapable of carrying out serious attacks against you anymore? Possibly. And if it happens that Israel completely crushes Hamas, cripples Hezbollah, and takes out the Iranian leadership so that the people take over, don't act like that's not a difference. That's like night and day difference right there in the future. So you may still have terrorist groups. I mean, you will definitely still have terrorist groups. I don't know if those will be Hezbollah and Hamas and so on. But even if they are still groups, if they're massively weakened and marginalized even more, and if the rest of the world decides, and the rest of the Middle East decide, you know what, let's move on from all this fighting and stuff, and that could be a different world. So people tend to have this: either you have completely wiped them out and they no longer exist, or just let them continue as if nothing has ever. No, those are not your only options in the world.
all, you've been on Uncensored.
Why are we watching this door?
In Beirut. Professor, thank you for joining me. First of all, do you mind me asking why you're in Beirut?
When the Israeli regime carried out...
Yeah. This dude is like the Mike Winger. This dude sounds exactly like Mike Winger to me, man.
I was over here for the Star Trek convention.
I don't even want to listen to this guy, man. This guy's just
skip past this dude, man.
Me. But
yeah,
wait a second.
Major atrocity on the first.
I came here because
carried out
I brought my Star Trek communicator. I got stopped in the airport because my phaser, but I told him it's just a model of the phaser.
Wait a minute, I want to hear what he's saying.
I decided to come here, and I thought it would be best to be here to help. And actually, I was in the building where I was staying
Star Trek convention
when the attack occurred on Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah.
I contacted my good friend Mike Winger.
Hassan Nasrallah. Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah. So Sayyid is
cat's out of the bag. Cat's out of the bag.
Is an honorific title for like Sir, Lord, Master. Master
it's like if you didn't know what side someone is on, he's like, and the great and glorious supreme commander of Iran, the Ayatollah. It's like, okay, we know who you are now. We know exactly who you are.
Actually, this is pretty similar to if you talk to somebody and they say, "Oh, the great Führer, Adolf Hitler." That's basically what it is. Maybe he should have been in the building with Hassan Nasrallah.
Yeah, look at his forelock.
Yeah,
they and their
go away, you freaking dork.
The pagers was a terrorist attack.
And the pagers. I mean, let's think about this. They literally blew off the balls of everyone. I mean, I'm standing at the table waiting for the opportunity to meet Jonathan Frakes, who played number 1, and then this guy's balls get blown off over in the corner. Hezbollah was there, who's a Star Trek fan. I mean, just imagine this: you're at a Star Trek convention, and people's balls are getting blown off.
Seriously, let's listen to this guy.
Attack. Israel has not had any military success. The pagers was a terrorist attack. And it was actually an attack on the West too, because these electronic devices from now on, those things that have been produced in the West or countries that are allied to the West, their supplies chains have been compromised. And the West is doing nothing about it. And I think lots of people are going to have second thoughts about buying any electronic devices from any of these Western countries or countries of
Yeah, everyone stop. No one's going to buy electronic devices anymore. No one. It's
people are going to stop buying pagers, man.
Yep. Well, I mean, imagine the threat to the global economy if people stop buying devices from the 1980s. Just imagine if people stop buying things that no one buys.
Even the response to this whole pager issue is just a giant fallacy and a giant lie. When these Hezbollah and Hamas fans respond, like what happened is that Israel deliberately, or whoever was behind it, right, deliberately set up a production of devices and created a seeming sense of reliability for their products, to then eventually pitch it and successfully sell it to Hezbollah. Hezbollah contacted this factory and said, "Hey, good product. We need 5,000 pagers. 5,000 pagers. We order all of them. Send us 5,000 pagers.
We need them for our terrorists.
Wallahi, we are all Hezbollah. We terrorist organization. We want all of the 5,000 pagers." So as soon as this organization got wind of Hezbollah directly ordering pagers, they started getting into the production and started installing little explosives into the pagers, which would all go off at the same time. So as the Hezbollah members, the terrorists, had those devices, Israel set them off and they all exploded. And the damage of it was quite minimal. That's it. For somehow this is supposed to make people paranoid everywhere around
We're
the
all
world
terrified.
about buying devices. Oh no, how am I going to buy my next iPhone? What if it has a bomb in it?
But AP, even if it's just limited to pagers, who uses pagers? Doctors. Now doctors will be scared to get pagers. Now you're trying to contact your doctor and you can't get a hold of him and you're dying. People are going to be dying around the world because they can't get medical help because what has happened here. This is like, I mean, just imagine this situation, guys. Most people, unless you, only very, very specific kinds of people get pagers anymore, right? Hezbollah was specifically getting them. They were getting them for one purpose. They knew that cell phones could be traced, and so we need something that Israel can't actually track us on. So the only purpose of these pagers was for terrorists, specifically for terrorists to be able to communicate with each other. That's the only reason, which means those are the only people these pages were going to. They were only going to terrorists, so that they were not going to doctors, and so they were going specifically to terrorists because they couldn't be traced. And Israel, these are designated for these are terrorist only pagers. Let's put a little bit of explosive in there. Give these guys a little wake-up call as to what they're dealing with. And this guy, oh no, everyone in the world is going to die and the global economy is going to collapse because no one will buy electronics anymore. Yes, there's been a huge plummet in electronic sales. Just look at any electronic sales, ladies and gentlemen. You'll find out people stopped buying electronics right after that attack. You lying clown.
I mean,
no,
You can't call me clown. It's like genocide.
The funny thing is that they actually successfully sold all of these pagers and delivered them to Hezbollah, and Hezbollah had them all explode in their hands and in their pockets, and many of them lost their balls and their eyes and so on. And now they are angry about it. This could only happen to Hezbollah, but no other country would even allow such compromise, it seems. And somehow the rest of humanity is now supposed to be worried about this. This just shows how weak, how incompetent, how stupid, how underdeveloped, and how dumb your terrorist organizations are, and how brilliant and smooth the other side operates, apparently. Sorry, only those who are as stupid as you should be worried about this.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, like, that's, we were talking about Russia earlier and Hezbollah and what we think of these guys in our mind until you see them actually fight. And you can always learn more about different groups, like the Ukrainians. As I mentioned, I thought these guys were going to fight if the Russians invade. I did not know how tough these guys were as far as stopping Russia. In other words, it modifies your view of people as when they fight. All of a sudden your views of different groups and stuff change. We were thinking of, Israel's obviously significantly more powerful than Hezbollah. We knew that, and Hezbollah was significantly more better equipped and so on, a better fighting force than Hamas and so on. We're aware of that, but given what's going on recently, it's like Israel is looking like the unstoppable military mastermind, sending everyone into a state of panic and disarray within their terrorist groups and so on. And everyone else looks like freaking bumbling morons and idiots and complete lunatics. And that's what it's looking like more and more. So Hezbollah now, to me, looks like a complete joke. Israel is, I mean, I thought they were pretty powerful and pretty intelligent and so on, but my goodness, after that pager thing, give it up, guys. I want to say to every terrorist, just give it up. You're not beating it. You're give it up now, you morons. You're not winning against these guys. They're way smarter than you.
Yep. I don't think this guy says anything useful. I'm just curious about one thing, because he says Iran will respond. There is no doubt, but I really wonder what he predicted here.
It's like saying a Dawa guy will respond. Yes, words will come out.
That were in the United States. I
understand your position on its existence. I'm just telling you, given it does exist, does it have no right to defend itself?
Piers, this is what you fail to comprehend. As long as you have a master race, as long as you have a hierarchy of race, as long as you have one race that considers itself superior to others, there is not going to be any peace. That's just...
All right. Here is a lecture, right? It's going to be as simple as this. What I'm going to tell you right now is the truth. Everything else you hear about this is false. If you have an issue with this, debate it with me. If you have an issue with this, get me somebody who debates this with me, right? What I'm going to tell you about this whole master race or chosen people idea is the fact. What people like this imbecile here on the screen are telling you is false. It is a lie. Okay, this is the truth. Absolutely, there is no country in the Middle East that actually, or Israel is not a nation that has any concept of a master race or of chosen people or of superior people. It does not have a concept of we are genetically superior. We are superior. We are better than everyone else because we are a better race. Such a thing does not exist in Israel. It does not exist in Judaism. It does not exist in Jewishness. It does not exist in Israeli politics. This is not a thing, okay? It is not real. There is not even a race at play here. Israelis are very ethnically diverse. Some people don't seem to realize this. I see some of these neo-Nazi white nationalists coming like, "Oh, why is it okay when Israelis want to protect their own race, but it's not okay when we do it? When we do it." Israel doesn't have a race issue. What they have is a tribe or ethnic group or ethno-religious group ideology. Israel, after the modern state was founded, bussed in a lot of Jews of different origins and different appearances from around the world. Later on, they even transported in Black African Jewish people. Black African Jewish people, right? They specifically brought them over. The Ethiopian Jews. Israel actually put money and resources into bringing those people over. Now, do you really believe that Israel actually thinks, "Oh yeah, we are totally of the same race"? Yes, me, who I have blonde hair. I have blonde hair. I have blue eyes, and you have brown hair and brown eyes. You look pretty brown too. Your skin is very brown, and you over there, you are totally black. Obviously black. You're from Ethiopia. We are exactly the same race. Do you really think Israel has this idea? No, they don't. Because this is not an idea that exists. Israelis don't have this stupid idea. Judaism doesn't have this stupid idea. Okay? Anyone who claims that Israel has such an idea is stupid and ignorant and dumb and doesn't know and is trying to fool people or doesn't know any better. That's what it is. You could say one thing, which is that Jews consider themselves as a tribe, as chosen people, chosen for a covenant, and that they have a special place in the world according to their religion. That is true, but that has nothing to do with race. Nothing at all to do with race, especially if you are a non-Jewish Christian, for example, and if you're going to argue that the entire idea of chosen people is a racial superiority idea, then you are basically saying that your very own religion, your very own scripture, your very own God introduced the idea of racial superiority because it comes from the Bible. It's not something that Jews just came up with later on after Christianity. It comes from the Bible. When it is found in the Talmud, when it is found in the texts of Jews, it comes from the Torah. Okay, it's from the Bible. That's where it comes from. There is no idea, neither in the Israeli Declaration of Independence or official documents, nor in the Jewish religion, that Jewish people are racially superior and others are inferior. There is not even a teaching that Jewish people are in any other way superior and others are inferior. You know what there is, however, in Judaism, there is the teaching that that God created all humans from one human, just so everybody knows that nobody is by their descendants superior to others. This is literally what the Talmud teaches. And here you have some guy named Sam Shamu saying, "What a lying scumbag, AP." You can say that as much as you want. It just shows that you are an idiot. You are an imbecile. Okay. I can really cite you to the Talmud right here. You can find this reference in the Talmud. Maybe learn something. Maybe look. You obviously think that that Jews consider themselves superior, and maybe you are also a little bit projecting, and you have this paranoia because Jews seem to be generally doing quite well. It also might have to do with the fact that learning and preserving studies and knowledge is a very, very great thing in Jewish history and Jewish tradition. Maybe you should inform yourself and should start reading on Jewish texts and beliefs, for example. If you did that, you could easily find in the Talmud the idea that all humans are supposed to be seen as the same, as equal, and nobody's supposed to see themselves as superior to others. It appears here, for example, in Sanhedrin 37a. The Mishnah cites another reason Adam, the first man, was created alone, and this was done due to the importance of maintaining peace among people, so that one person will not say to another, "My father," i.e., progenitor, "is greater than your father." And it was also so that the heretics who believe in multiple gods will not say there are many authorities in heaven, and so on. By this idea, by this concept, all humans are the same. The world was created for me as one person can be the source of all humanity and recognize the significance of his actions. This is what Jews believe, and this is what Jews have taught forever. If you have learned at any point, at any time, that Jews consider themselves racially superior, then you are simply misled. And maybe you should educate yourself and not start talking dumb nonsense on the internet.
No, I only believe what I heard from my friends at the Free Palestine rally. That's all I believe. I don't care what the actual forces say. Don't tell me what I believe. I heard that from this guy at the Free Palestine rally. Don't lecture me by actually quoting it.
Man. You know, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to hold this whole thing. But sometimes when I interact with people like this, like these idiots, they say we're superior. Jews might not think this, but when I interact with people like this, I think that that people like us might be superior to people like these, who don't learn a single thing, but who go online and start talking trash about different people and different cultures because they don't know a single thing. Because it looks like they are inferior insofar that they are unable and incapable of learning things. So yeah, Jews don't say that they are superior, but I will happily say that I'm probably superior to whoever that idiot was. Yeah.
A fact of life, whether it's in the United
States.
Iran.
Shut up, you dork. Get the hell out of here.
He's your hero. To me, he was a despicable terrorist, but we will have to leave it there. Professor Morandi, thank you very much for joining me.
And by the way, if you like him, you're also a terrorist.
That's a good little sick burn from Piers there. Yeah. Okay, he's your hero, but to me, he's a despicable terrorist. All right, we'll conclude with that. Perfect. It's weird. It's weird. I could be watching Piers and going, "What is he, a dope?" And I'll watch him other and like, "Wow, this guy's awesome." It's weird.
Thank you.
Well, let's go back to the panel. I mean, Mossad.
Mossab's laughing because of what Piers just said.
He was to hear that view, but what is your response?
Look,
how to make Mossab laugh.
Islamic revolution leaders, Ayatollah, and before him, Ruh Allah. They have invested some 40 to 50 years into their proxies, and that includes Hezbollah, Hamas, and other proxies in the region. Now, what they see the collapse of their aggression, the collapse and the failure of many, many years of investment. What happened to Hezbollah is shocking to the core. The entire Islamists around the world are seeing the collapse of one of the most funded, equipped military force in the Middle East. And Ayatollah is not far from Israel's reach. He understands this. This is why he retreated after the assassination of Haniya. And by the way, I want to ask just a question. Okay? Who killed the Iranian president to begin with? The fact that Israel did not announce that did not mean that Israel does not have any hands in it. So Ayatollah and the other Hamas leaders in Qatar who think that they are immune to retaliation, they're totally mistaken. I said this from day one, and that's based on a personal experience with the Israeli intelligence of more than 10 years, that all Hamas leaders will be eliminated with no exception. Hezbollah, that was surprising to me how fast they actually collapsed.
Wow, he's with us. It was like, wow.
Iranian regime is.
That's interesting.
That is interesting because I was like, were we off on something? How did we not know how fast these guys would just like collapse? Like how were like, again, we knew Israel would win, but we thought these guys would be putting up us. The concern was that they were going to put up a much better fight than Hamas did, and that this is going to just drag out for so long and so on. And it's not. They just got crushed like instantly. But Mossab's saying, no, I was shocked at that. I was shocked at that.
That is interesting. So he does confirm once again that that there is, you should really not underestimate Israeli intelligence. It is very brilliant and very powerful. But even to him, it's a surprise how quickly they took out the Hezbollah leadership.
I think we're
nice.
I think soon we're going to see videos of the Ayatollah, but he's posting videos from like a cave, like Osama bin Laden back in the day.
Yeah, that'd be funny. For those who don't know, Mossab Hassan Youssef, he is the son of a Hamas co-founder. He lived with them for a long time. Just got into pro-Hamas activism and then was picked up and put into prison, where he stayed for a while and was then turned and joined the Shin Bet, the Israeli security agency, and started working for Israeli intelligence, where he also changed his worldview and everything completely, where he actively helped in preventing many terrorist attacks. But by their statement, he saved many lives who don't even know that their lives were saved by him. So that is the authority that he's speaking from.
A lot more vulnerable.
No, he speaks from the authority of the universe.
Your program is ought to be destroyed. It's just a matter of time. There is no immunity for these people who have been destabilizing the region, taking advantage of the chaos they create. Then we have the clowns here, what so-called experts coming here in the West, spreading false narrative of occupation and Palestine. And what I say, Palestine never existed except as a colonial entity created by the Brits, lived for about 25 years, a colonial entity. It was never a country. It was never a nation. And today, when Omar and his friends come and say Israel is occupying force, I say, occupying what? If Palestine never existed, how can you occupy something that never existed?
Okay, let me bring in.
So now
that is true. That is true. And you can shake your head as much as you want. There was no nation. There was no state named Palestine or named Palestine. It did not exist. Definitely not before Israel took control of the territory. That is definitely true. It's undeniable. Absolutely undeniable. The only time that officially a state by the name of Palestine was declared by the Arab side was after Israel took control of the land. So when it was part of Israeli control, that is when the Palestinian activist side actually declared a state by the name of Palestine. 40 years after the modern state of Israel was declared independent. This is all facts.
Now they keep on. No, wait.
I've got to let Omar
Now
respond.
they keep going. They keep. He will have his time.
Here's the
He
thing,
will have his
Piers,
time.
right?
Now
He's
we are
talking
about a false
occupation being
narrative.
fake and
We
Israel
are
not really
talking
occupying.
about a
Don't talk
false
over each other.
narrative.
Mossab, you've had a chance to have your
Okay,
diatribe.
Omar, you respond now.
You were here. You're hearing Mossab here talking about how occupation is all fake and made up and it's whatever. But it's incredible that when you look at what international law says, what the UN says, what the UN General Assembly says, what UN resolutions say in the Security Council, there is a complete and total consensus on the fact that Israel is an occupying power, illegally occupying the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem. The International Court of Justice has come out with an opinion making clear that this occupation is illegal and has to end. So while Mossab wants to pretend that this is something that Palestinians manufactured because he has nothing of substance really to say, the reality is just so obvious and so blatant that you don't even know how to address such a bizarre and ridiculous argument that this is something that Palestinians invented. Palestinians have been there for literally thousands of years. They are the natural continuation of people who have lived in that land for a very, very long time. And yes, it's true, Palestine was never an independent UN member, for example.
Hey, cut that, man. Cut that. Clip that. I mean, that's like he's admitting what anyone who has any clue about anything involving this issue knows, but it's just rare to have someone admit it. Yeah, it wasn't a country. That's right. But that's a huge admission right there because it's so rare. No, there was a country. Okay, can you show us the country? Where was the country? It was there. It was there for a long time. It was there for a long time, and then the Jews showed up and they stole the country.
He kind of he mixed in the UN, but that is not even necessary. Let me see.
It's true, Palestine was never an independent UN member, for example, independent country.
No, you don't even have to say that. Palestine was never a country, okay? It never was a country. UN member doesn't even matter. Independent doesn't matter either. It was not a country. There is a state of Palestine that was declared officially in 1988, which is also one thing that triggered Hamas to come into existence, because Hamas themselves were against the whole setup of the so-called Palestinian state, because they thought, no, this is going toward compromise and going toward a two-state solution. We will never do this. We want all of the land. But that is what it is. You can find it here. I mean, it's as simple as going on a on a Wikipedia page, which you might then accuse of lying, of course. Here, State of Palestine. State of Palestine. When is it first coming into existence? When is it first declared? 15th of November, 1988. That is 2 decades, more than 20 years after Israel takes control of the territory. That is 40 years after the modern state of Israel is declared independent. 40 years after this is the first time that a state by the name of Palestine is declared. And then they want to retroactively say, oh, this was our country. This was our country. It was our country. It was occupied by the Israel. It was occupied. It was our country.
Country. But by the same token, Native Americans in the United States were never also did not have a state that is a member of the United Nations. It doesn't change the fact that they were living on their own land and that colonists came and take over and drove them off of that land and created a new state on top of them. So Israel was created at the expense of Palestinians. And while
Except that's not what happened. Those are completely different things. That's not what happened. Number one, the so-called Palestinians are not people who are totally native to the land. They are a mix of people who are native, and many of them came later with Arab influence. Their genetics are significantly different from certain populations inside the land that go further back and have no Arab influence, for example. Also, the Jewish population. There was a significant Jewish population that always lived there, and the Jewish population that came after the 1900s or prior to the 1900s, at the end of the 19th century, and especially in the early 1900s, didn't just drive people out and take their land. That's not what happened. It never happened. This never happened. It never took place. This is a complete myth. It never occurred. Okay. The worst thing that you can claim is that they came and some of them bought land that was owned by Arabs. They bought land that was owned by Arabs, and it was then from then on their land because they legitimately bought it. Such cases did happen. That doesn't mean that they forcefully took the land and kicked the people out. Such a thing did not take place. The only time where land grabs actually happened was after the Arab side started fighting and declaring war on the Zionist Jews. And I'm sorry, you can cry as much as you want about that. Shouldn't have attacked them.
While you might talk about this militant group or that militant group or what their charter may say about the destruction of Israel, in the case of Israel, it is active policy that we're watching is to destroy Palestine. This isn't theoretical. We're not talking about what their charter.
Yeah, the very same country that offers Palestinian statehood many, many times.
And keeps helping shuttle in massive amounts of food and so on.
Yeah.
And which could wipe them out literally overnight if they really wanted to, but never ever does.
Yeah. That one
and only seems to do anything with them when they start attacking and firing weapons and crossing the border and killing and taking hostages and so on. Yeah, it's just they're just Israel's just hell bent on. We were just talking about this. How they will give a description of everything Islam is doing, and then they'll just apply it all to Israel. And then they'll act like Israel's the problem, even though that's literally exactly what Islam is doing. And so he's sitting here, they're hell-bent on just exterminating. It's the other group that wants to exterminate Israel. That's their goal. That's their goal for the Israel's responding to people who want to completely wipe out Israel. And he's complaining that Israel just really, really wants to wipe out these people.
You see, that's the proof.
We're talking about what Israel's doing, and Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. It is building illegal settlements in the West Bank, using unspeakable levels of violence against the Palestinian civilians there, and confining them to smaller and smaller areas. We are watching the destruction of Palestine before our eyes in a way that the entire international human rights community and international law says is completely illegitimate and criminal, and our reaction is to fund it and maybe occasionally criticize it instead of standing up to it.
That is funny because there is no court that has so far said that this is a genocide. There's no single entity in the world that has no single legitimate entity that has actually said that this is a genocide.
Look, man, if a bunch of people online and on Twitter call something a genocide, then it's a genocide. That's the definition of a genocide. What a bunch of people say.
And not even the ICC or the ICJ have ever said that this is a genocide, or even that it's possible that it's a genocide. Nobody ever made any such statement. But to this guy, he just appeals to different bodies and explains that this is a genocide. Okay.
But in a really meaningful
and Omar,
sense.
what would you,
Omar,
what should Israel have done on October the 8th after the attack the day before?
In a theoretical world in which I was the Israeli leader on October 8th, what I would do is take on the podium, acknowledge the fact that we've created an unspeakable situation in which violence is inevitable, and I would offer to instantly end the occupation of the West Bank, Gaza.
And then I would agree to get off their land that was their country, and I would go back to Europe where I belong. That's what I would do.
I would go back to Poland. I would go back to Poland immediately. And also everything that I built, all the cities, Tel Aviv, everything that I built from zero on empty land, I would give it all over to them because they deserve it. And especially I would there would be a specific family by the name of Badar. That also has a son named Omar Badar. Specifically, that family, I would give all my money to.
In East Jerusalem to apply international law and respect Palestinian human rights in exchange for every person on October 7th who engaged in acts of violence against Israeli civilians to be brought before court and put on trial for war crimes.
And who would do?
Well, there is a better solution to this. Fight and eradicate the entire terrorist organization and everyone connected to it that participated on October 7, and then continue building the land. That's it. I think that's a better solution.
Who would do that?
But that's out of the question.
Who would have brought 40,000 Hamas fighters to court?
Yeah, you don't need the entire 40,000 in the same sense that you don't need every last member of the Israeli military to be brought and before war crimes, because the Israeli military engages in war crimes. There is a path forward, and that's the thing. The reason
But you're
why
seriously
this is really out of the
suggesting that
question
Israel should not have
is because
responded.
Israel insists.
But you're serious.
You see what the problem here is, right? It's like, look, let's say for a second, okay, let's grant for a second here that these 7th century political experts are actually right, and let's say it happened exactly as they like to describe it. Okay, that the Palestinians who are living there right now are actually an indigenous group that were there all the time, and that the Jews just came in there as colonizers and pushed them out and took their land and started building things. And here we are now, much later, 120 years later, after the first major movements into the land. Okay, let's say all of this is true. All of this is complete nonsense, but let's say all of this is true. Would it really be reasonable to nowadays say, okay, yeah, you have to now leave this land and stop occupying their land and let them completely take over whatever they want, and give the natives everything, and give your cities that you built to them even after they declared war on you, and so on, and all occupation, let all of them come to wherever they want to live. The land belongs entirely to them. If they want to take your home that you built after they went away, well, it's no longer your house. You should probably go back. It's their house. Is this really, do these people really think that anybody would do something like this? Nobody would agree to this. There is no Arab country that would agree to this. There is no Muslim country that would agree to this if they were in charge. And Arabs have been huge colonizers. There is no Arab country, no Muslim country that would agree to such a stupid thing. There is no country in the world that would agree to such a stupid thing. It's such an idiotic idea. Let's say you are right and all of this did indeed happen. Move on.
Yeah, you could use the exact same example that he used with the United States. So you could, and of course, people would agree that the people who were here were the Native Americans, and lots of really messed up stuff happened to them. Okay, what do you do now? Like everyone need to go back to where they came. Like everyone needs to what? How, you just okay. Well, there's 300 million people here. Let's just all go somewhere else, and the natives they can take that. Like no one thinks like that. No one thinks like that except for this one little spot. This one little spot of the entire world. And then it's there were people there who were on certain land a long time ago, and therefore we just need to get rid of all the Jews on the land or something. I don't know. And if the people in that area want to keep launching bloody, deadly terrorist attacks and raping and torturing people and slaughtering people and taking hostages, you just have to look the other way, because a long time ago this other thing happened. I don't know what to do, man. Well, yeah, sorry, buddy. You're making the case for dude. AP, this is the same thing we keep bringing up. Namely, Piers does tend to come back to if you're saying that Israel is doing this wrong, what should Israel do instead? If you were in charge, if you were in charge, what would you have done differently? Every time he asks that question, either people won't answer, they won't say what Israel should be doing instead, or they give that and it's a completely insane answer that is just, it puts you in fantasy land.
Yeah. The whole thing is also it's also much harder to convince the Jews of doing such a thing, considering that it is undeniable that they have a historic connection to the land. Okay, and even when the issue first came up in the United Nations, or the League of Nations, which came before the United Nations, it was very explicit in the 1920s. It was very explicit that they said that this mandate should serve for the re-establishment of the Jewish national home. That's what the League of Nations said in 1920. the Jewish national home. Nowadays, we have genetics, we have a ethnic history, we have archaeology, we have the language. You can go back and find inscriptions from 3,000 years ago, talking about Israel and so on. It's really, just move on, man. You lost. That's it. Let's say you're right for a second. You lost. Move on.
Is suggesting that Israel should not have responded to one of the worst terror attacks in history in any military way whatsoever.
You have to be consistent about this, Piers. If we're expecting Palestinians to not respond in any militant sense to literally decades of Israeli atrocities and war crimes against Palestinians, why does it only work one way? Why do we say that Israel must respond militarily, but Palestinians are never said to need to respond militarily to decades of Israeli occupation and war crimes?
The Arabs have started the fighting every single time. Israel is the one responding. You can't start fighting, then whenever Israel responds, say, "Oh, they are doing this."
Why is that
fact
double standard there?
Because the argument, as you know, from the other side is if you go back to 1948, that there have been a series of escalations in those 75 years with blame being attached to both sides, small things happening, which then trigger outbreaks of war. And it's gone on now for 75 years. And at the center of it is an ongoing, but here's my point. The center of it is an ongoing dispute about territory and land. I get all that. But ultimately, you cannot have a situation where on one...
Why do they never want to talk about this? He doesn't want to talk about it. This is a typical thing that they're doing. They never want to talk about it. They want to talk about the Nakba, which would be the Palestinian, the Arab expulsion and fleeing from the territory. They never want to talk about what happened before that. They never want to talk about it. What happened before that is that the Arab side started an extermination war. First against the Zionist communities and then finally against Israel. And they lost. If Israel was just as bad as they are, they would have been eradicated. Israel is not as bad as they are, which is why they are still around.
One day, that volume of people are massacred and wounded, in 7,000 people wounded, and that Israel just does nothing. It was so far and away beyond anything anyone had seen in that conflict for 75 years in one day. Of course they were going to respond. Of course Hamas knew. Of course Hamas knew that would be what Israel would do. So they knew what would happen to their own people, and they didn't care. Iran knew what the response would be, and obviously knew what Hamas were going to do. Hezbollah's reaction was not to show a modicum of sympathy for any of the people killed. It was to launch a barrage of rockets in sympathy with Hamas, the terrorists who perpetrated it. And they've carried on doing that for a whole year, and they've displaced 65, 70,000 Israelis from the north of Israel. And at some point, of course...
Why is he shaking his head again, man? This is fact. There's nothing even to deny about this.
Yeah, it's become... not you're saying something false. It's if you're saying something completely true, but I don't like it because it hurts my case and it hurts my feelings, then I just shake my head. Like
How about no? I don't like your facts. I don't like your facts.
AP, say things that are totally true.
Grass is green. The water is wet. The sky is usually blue.
Shut up! Come on, that's totally stupid. You're lying. This is Zionist propaganda. Sorry, I wanted to go into jank mode.
Look, it's actually as simple as this. I mean, you don't have to listen to anybody on this. It's kind of funny that he doesn't want to talk about 1948. 1948 Arab-Israeli War, an existential war fought between Israel and Arab forces from Egypt, Transjordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. The war formally began on May 15, 1948, and ended on July 20th, 1949, although it followed a civil war that began... For Arabs, the war is remembered as the Nakba, from Arabic al-Nakba, catastrophe, because of the mass displacement of Palestinians that resulted from the war, for which they can only blame themselves. And let's see here. When did it begin? Civil war, Jews, Arabs. The conflict between Israel and Arab forces outside Palestine began on May 15, 1948, when those forces swooped in from neighboring countries just hours after British forces withdrew from Palestine, region Palestine, not country Palestine, and Israel had declared its independence. So what does it say here in this article, which you can even cite in a scholarly way? It says the conflict began when these surrounding Arab forces from neighboring countries swooped in just hours after the British forces withdrew from Palestine and Israel had declared its independence. So Israel declares its independence, the British forces leave, and as soon as that happens, the Arab nations and the Arabs inside the land start attacking Israel. That's it. That is what happened here. And what's the result of this? Israel kicked their asses and won, and then expanded. And since then, they are still sour about this. You lost. You started the fight. You lost. Move on.
Israel is going to respond. Now, what part of what I've just said is factually inaccurate?
Yeah, I think the entire framing that Israel is responding is at the fundamental core of what's wrong.
I'm not denying historical. I didn't, look, the reason I prefaced it by saying
not historical.
I said there have been 75 years of flare-ups and wars and everything, and you can argue about all the history as long as you want. What you can't argue with is the scale of what happened on October the 7th was so horrific. It was always going to get a
there's no
massive
denying
response.
it was a major attack.
Sorry?
Yeah.
There's no denying it was a major attack.
No, here's the thing, Piers. This is not about tracing it back as a tit for tat. Well, they did this before and those people did this before. There is a status quo. It's not equal sides that are living on both sides of a border that are perfectly living fine and equal, and then one of them chooses to launch an attack against the other. You have a fundamental status quo in which one people rules another, in which Israelis every day, decade after decade, are free.
This is so funny. This guy comes in here into the conversation saying that Mossab Hassan Youssef is not a serious person, and then he just does this. You can't have any proper conversation with this guy. He will never stick to the topic, will never talk about substantial issues, always get back to Israel oppressor, Palestinian oppressed.
Free and live in complete freedom and democracy and so on. And you have Palestinians in Gaza who are living in a cage, not allowed to go in and out, have no freedom.
But Hamas were given.
They were allowed to go in and out. Lots of them would go on vacation. Many of them would work inside Israel. They had higher living standards than half the world. They had beautiful streets. Of course. Lots of people around the world. Pakistan, a free Muslim country, is much worse than Gaza ever was, and so on. This is just a complete lie.
Governmental power. Yeah, but hang on.
No prospect for a
Hamas
better
was
future.
given governmental power from 2005, and all it did was spend billions of dollars building a huge underground tunnel network so it could continue to wage terror against Israel. They squandered that money.
They're going, no. What are you talking about?
No,
What the heck is this guy? What the heck is this guy shaking his head at?
That's completely factual.
Piers, and they built lots of tunnels. No, don't no tunnels. No one built any tunnels, Piers. That's a lie. That's a Zionist propaganda. It's Zionist propaganda. My goodness, man.
Let's see. So, threat. As you watch news in Gaza, keep one thing in mind. The largest terrorist organization in all of Palestine and Israel, known as the Israeli military, has killed thousands of Palestinians, breaking into Palestinian homes, kidnapping. If you find yourself outraged at what Hamas did, look at this. Isn't it funny? I'm going through this guy's October 7 tweets. First tweet about the attacks is not a condemnation. It is basically about how the other side, Israel, is actually bad. Footage of Israeli soldiers breaking into Palestinian homes and kidnapping. unrelated stuff. If you find yourself outraged at what Hamas did, morally consistent, care about the lives, then you should condemn Israel. Another piece of hypocrisy to anticipate, talking about hypocrisy. Palestinians must lay down and accept living under brutality. Israel in the midst of committing another massacre in Gaza. You're absolutely right to condemn violence against civilians, Congresswoman, but wall-to-wall coverage of Israeli experiencing for a few hours what Palestinians have continuously experienced. No Palestinians have never experienced what Israelis experienced on October 7th. Okay, you absolute piece of scum. This never ceases to be relevant and on point. Here it is. Here you have it. This guy is sitting here and acting like he's actually a reasonable guy who totally rejects the terrorism and all of that. This guy took no second even condemning what happened on that day. On that day, when regular Palestinian terrorists went from house to house shooting innocent civilians, when they set civilians on fire, when they bound them and set them on fire, when they went into a music festival and started killing over 300 of them, and so on. People like this scumbag, who look like one of Hezbollah's, one of those balls that Hezbollah terrorists lost during the pager attack. This guy is a scumbag who had nothing to say about the violence, the brutalities, the savagery committed by those Palestinians, by so-called Palestinians, on October 7th. And here he is pretending to be one of them good guys.
To the cows come home, but that's obviously what they did, and they did it at the expense of their people. So yeah, you can claim with great cause, by the way, that Israel's had an occupation which should never have been permitted in the first place. But you can also not deny that in 2005 they pulled out of Gaza and let Hamas take charge, and this is where we've got to. How has that helped the people?
No, I don't think that's a correct framing. No, they withdrew in 2005 out of Gaza and then put Gaza under siege and made it a cage and allowed Hamas to govern this cage internally. They can be the...
No, that's not what happened. They went out of Gaza and then allowed the Gazans to have elections. The Gazans then elected Hamas, and Hamas said no negotiations, no peace agreement, no mutual recognition, and we will never stop fighting Israel. That's what happened. If after that Israel takes measures and imposes a blockade, yes, that's what they should be doing. That's what they should have been doing. In fact, that was not enough. They should have went in. They should have invaded the Gaza after Hamas took over immediately, without ever letting it get to this. What a freaking liar.
Prison wardens of Palestinian prisoners. That's not meaningful governance. And then you can have a serious debate about how Hamas spent its money. You can say that maybe what they should have done is make this cage a little bit more pleasant for Palestinians to live in. And instead, they chose to devote their resources into breaking out of that cage by investing in military infrastructure. I'm not a fan of Hamas. I don't support them. I oppose their rule.
Yeah, it really shows, bro.
I don't think they're a particularly positive influence on Palestinian society. But at the end of
it's so funny. What a wording! Like when it comes to Israel, that actually has a functioning society and takes care of Israeli Arabs, Muslims, everyone. The terrorists, cruel tyranny. When it comes to Hamas terrorists who have the stated goal of massacring all of the Jews and putting everyone in line and building a caliphate, not a particularly good influence on
particularly
Palestinians.
good, but really, maybe really good, but not particularly good.
Oppose their rule. I don't think they're a particularly positive influence on Palestinian society. But at the end of
look at Mossab. Look at Mossab. Look at Mossab.
Their rule. I don't think they're a particularly positive influence on Palestinian society. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about a captive population that Israel has just put in a cage and left to rot, it is natural that people are going to be drawn to more extremist and violent ideologies in order to break to that fundamental injustice.
But do you accept, though? But do you accept
that's really the reality?
Do you accept that you have the three H's, the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, all prescribed terror groups to many nations around the world, all of them funded and resourced by Iran? And do you accept that at some point, when you have that kind of concentrated collection of groups that are wedded to the destruction of Israel, Israel is going to do what it can to try and save itself, right? You can argue about the history as much as you want, but they're going to do that. And what is inarguable, it seems to me right now, what I put to Professor Morandi, is that from a pure military perspective, it would appear that Israel is having enormous success now in taking on Hamas, Hezbollah, now the Houthis, and Iran has disappeared. Iran is doing nothing to defend these groups that it's funded for so long. Now, maybe they will.
Liar.
But at the moment, it looks like
launched a bunch
they
of
don't have
rockets.
the ability to properly.
Don't you know, man? Today they launched a bunch of rockets, which it was a very, very heavy attack, which didn't do anything at all. So
Get involved, or they don't have the will, and that could be an enormous transformative revelation for that whole region, couldn't it?
Seriously, Piers Morgan debates are so unproductive, man. Like, what a terrible format to have a discussion.
Yeah, two things on what you just said, Piers. I think the fundamental reality is that Israel is insisting on a situation of dominance. Again, this is not a status quo in which Israel is just another country in the region. The occupation and ethnic cleansing and apartheid and the genocide now in Gaza are an ongoing process. And Israel has an option. It is true that this has triggered a reaction in the region in which
The genocide. After we attacked them, they fought back. We didn't think they would.
groups and movements are emerging, and that Iran is indulging those militant groups. They're not proxies of Iran, just for clarity. Ansarullah in Yemen are a genuine Yemeni group. Hezbollah in Lebanon is a genuine Lebanese movement. Its roots are in Lebanon. The same with Hamas in the Palestinian.
They're fighting a civil war, man. Houthis are fighting a civil war in Yemen. Are you kidding me? They are fighting a civil war. They are taking all of the aid and are fighting a civil war. They're fighting against the legitimate, internationally recognized Yemeni government.
Hezbollah in Lebanon is a genuine Lebanon, and movements are emerging, and that Iran is indulging those militant groups. They're not proxies of Iran, just for clarity. Ansarullah in Yemen are a genuine Yemeni group. Hezbollah in Lebanon is a genuine...
It's a terrorist organization that is fighting the government, man. It is called the Houthi insurgency. And I wonder if he defends them in any way.
Lebanese movement, its roots are in Lebanon. The same with Hamas in the Palestinian area.
Hezbollah was initially created by members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard who trained them. 1,500 members originally trained Hezbollah to get them going. Of course, they're a proxy.
Yes, Iran is supporting them in order to get them going. But members of Hezbollah,
depends what you mean by proxy.
Hassan Nasrallah, who was just assassinated, was born and raised in Lebanon. To me, proxy implies that they're not independent actors.
Oh, to you. Oh, okay. To you, I see. Okay.
They're just tools that Iran sent into the region.
That's exactly what I think
Hezbollah is. These are actors in the region. No. They are actors in the region that are defiant towards Israeli regional dominance, and because they have a common cause with Iran, Iran is arming and training them. That's the dynamic.
No. And this is not even deniable, man. Hezbollah is directly a creation of the Islamic regime of Iran, and they are.
That's in like Hezbollah's manifesto. That's what they're there for. They're there to wage war against Israel and to be, in effect, Iran's puppet in the region. That's it. That's what they're there for.
No, they're a totally independent group. Nothing to them, but Iran just supports them. That's it. Iran is just supporting them, man. You got it all wrong.
Yes, Israel has an option. They can start behaving within the bounds of international law and reach a peace agreement with the people around them and with Palestinians that would then suck all the energy away from these fanatical groups that want to keep fighting, or Israel...
Or how about this? You guys could start behaving and learning to live in peace, start building things. And from now on, since it is way too late, accept that from the river to the sea, there will only be one country.
Israel can continue massacring Palestinians and taking their land and insisting on pursuing a military strategy against new and emerging military threats. By all means, if you want to do it your way, you have endless war in the Middle East.
Well,
or
don't say it's my way, because don't say it's my way, because I see no plan which makes much sense to me about what Israel intends to do with Gaza after this, or indeed what its ultimate plan is for Lebanon. So this is not my way. I'm just telling you what it looks like from the outside, which it looks like Israel is now on the ascendance against its traditional enemies over there, and is having a lot of military success. Let me go back to Mossad.
Yeah.
And then you
finally we're getting back to Mossad.
You get people like this in the chat. Not one drop Semitic ain't Jews.
Well, if someone says it in the chat, you know it's true, AP. Basically, someone saying something in the chat automatically proves that it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, this is the slogan of the Houthis, of the Ansar Allah in Yemen. Here you have it in green and red and green, the most beautiful image I have ever seen in my life. It was beautifully designed here. It says, Allah is the greatest, death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews, curse upon the Jews, and victory to Islam. Obviously, this is just a group that cares about existing and having peace.
That's what they're there for. They're there to bring peace to the world.
If only Israel left them alone. All they want is peace. See? Their slogan. This is literally their slogan. This is the flag they hold up.
See, all they really want to focus on is graphic design, but Israel keeps messing with them. Now, if Israel just left them alone, these guys would just be focusing on their careers in graphic design because that's what they're good at.
The most beautiful design in the world. Look
at that. That is high resolution. That is high. Look how much you zoomed in on that, and it was still very, very clear, high resolution. You can't do. I can't do that. I can't do that. If you started zooming in on something I made, we'd start seeing pixels. I mean, this is really good stuff, man. So don't be making fun of these guys. What's wrong with you, hypocrite? You can't do it.
Are you people that are underdeveloped cave people? Look at this. Underdeveloped cave people whose slogan is written on the ugliest thing that I've seen in my entire life. The ugliest ever attempt at making us a symbol or a flag for themselves. And what it says is just as ugly. Allah is already ugly in and of itself, but it says Allahu Akbar, ugly. Death to America, ugly. Death to Israel, ugly. Curse upon the Jews, ugly. Victory to Islam, super ugly. This is who your guys are, man. Bunch of cavemen. That's very offensive, by the way.
Yeah, you actually predicted that Nasrallah was about to be assassinated. You posted on September the 23rd on X, 4 days before. Let's gamble. Anyone who predicts the day and date of Hassan Nasrallah's assassination will get an autographed copy of my new book, The Last Prophet, $777 in cash. On what day and date Hassan is scheduled to meet Allah?
Hey,
you were right.
Allah. Who the F is Allah?
Hey, did you see it? It actually turned out to be a bunch of people because you had tons and tons of people predicting different days, but there was a bunch of people who predicted that day. And he says he's paying all of them. He's paying all of them, giving all of them the book. So it wasn't just one person.
Our viewer Anne Wyckoff was one of those people. She guessed it right. And she's gonna get some money and the book signed by Mossab because she guessed it right. She got it right. She knew exactly when he was going to be taken out. Might be because she has inside knowledge from the Jews or something. I don't know. It felt like God is on Israel's side. That is the thing. He's definitely not on the Islamist side. Definitely not on their side.
And I think Muslims are feeling that, and that's why they're becoming increasingly unhinged on this issue. It's like, back on October 7th, they're weak. We can get to them. Well, if we just dial things up and we attack from all directions and we launch these protests around the world, Israel will feel our wrath and they will be crushed and humiliated. And here we are a year later, all these groups, everyone who's attacking Israel is getting crushed, and they're losing their minds because this is not how things are supposed to go. The Quran says Allah is not going to give the unbelievers a path to victory over the believers. And here we are over and over again. Islam takes a loss, then takes another loss, another loss, another loss, another loss, another loss, another loss, another loss. You guys believe in the God who's going to give you victory in all these situations, and he's not. So sounds like a good time to reevaluate your theology.
That's what they do. That is what they do. That is what they do. Let's see.
عاجل نجدد التذكير به بأثرات هذه الضاحية جيش تحديدا وتجدد
Nothing, just some visuals. Israel shelling southern Lebanon places. Southern suburbs of Beirut. Okay, southern suburbs of Beirut are Shia suburbs where Hezbollah has its stronghold. So that is where Israel is once again shelling and bombing. That's what's happening right now. Just looking for updates to see what's happening right there. Anything new? Anything new? Nope. There are very few updates right now. Not much happening. Good.
So, putting your predictive hat on again, what do you think is now going to happen? If, as is being reported widely now, Israel launches what they call a limited ground incursion into Lebanon, where is this all going to end?
Well, the eyes are not only on Lebanon. The most important target and the priority number one is the Iranian nuclear program. This is priority number one. We cannot afford allowing any Islamic entity to have mass destruction weapon because they are not showing responsibility. They have been bullying, they have been intimidating other religions and ethnic groups. The Islamic hatred against the Jewish people is evident. And of course, many people can hide behind the Palestine as a device to express their anti-Semitism, to inflict pain on the Jewish people after they suffered a genocide on October 7, which, by the way, by the definition, the only genocide was committed is on October 7. What's happening in Gaza is not a genocide, it's collateral damage. It's the use of human shields that has been justified by Omar and many advocates on behalf of Palestine who think that the use of human shields and kidnapping people and raping and looting and the calls for annihilating of a human race is a form of resistance. This is that you shut up. You shut up. It's my turn now. So now
Mossab sat there and listened to this guy for like 3.5 hours as he just droned on and spouted complete idiotic nonsense. And then as soon as Mossab starts responding, don't lie, it's a lie.
Look at this. Mossab sat there quietly and listened to this guy for wow, man. For how long? From 35 to for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, Mossab was quiet and just listened to this guy's drivel here. And the guy just can't let him talk for a minute.
They invert the distance. This is that you of a human race is a form of resistance. This is that you shut up. You shut up. It's my turn now.
Let's
shut
play
up.
A game. Let's play a game. Game is called Shutty. Shutty. You do this. Make your mouth. You do this. You do this. You know this. You know this.
Wow.
And the calls for annihilating of a human race is a form of resistance. This is that you shut up. You shut up. It's my turn now.
You need to clip that, man.
So now
you shut up. It's my turn.
They invert the narrative. They invert the narrative. Every time they suffer a defeat, they call it a genocide. And we say, no, there is a big difference between defeat and a genocide. You started this war and you killed Jewish people on October 7 by the name of Allah, not by the name of Palestine. Then the entire Muslim world backed Hamas in a global offensive against the Jewish people, a small minority that is resilient to time, with overwhelming evidence in relationship to the land, the only indigenous people to the land who did not oppose allowing the Arabs to stay in the state of Israel. This is why we have 2 million Arabs in Israel.
What is this guy denying, man? What are you denying? Look,
my strategy on the Piers Morgan show will be everything that's said, no matter how factually correct, I will just shake my head the entire time.
Just Google Israel's Arab population. Okay, here, a simple Google search, man. Simple Google search. What exactly do you expect? Oh, this is what Google says. If I actually go in there and research this topic, it will turn out that it's actually 0%. What in the hell do people expect? It has Israel has a population that is over 20% Arab. Over 20% Arab inside Israel, with the Jewish population inside Israel, together with the Jewish population, 20%. Man.
So now, to accuse
I'm sorry,
Israel
that's
of
ridiculous.
ethnic cleansing,
Israel was
to
established by
accuse
ethnically
Israel of
cleansing
genocide,
Palestinians. That's how
while
they
you
became
are
a
the
Jewish state.
perpetrator. You are the perpetrator.
That is a lie. Anyone who says Israel was established by ethnically cleansing Palestinians is a liar. This is a lie. It's a blatant lie.
Why you're interrupting me? I listened to your false narrative all the way until the end.
No.
So this is the time to sit down and listen.
Carry on.
Sit
No,
down
you're right.
and
Carry
listen.
on. Carry on with your
So
nonsense.
this
Go
is
ahead.
your mastery, inverting the narrative. This is what you do best. You are the perpetrator, then suddenly you become the victim. And I tell you something, Iran will be punished. Everyone who's standing behind terrorism, Hamas is a terrorist organization designated as a terrorist organization in the United States. You cannot be American and supportive of Hamas. You say you are not a big fan of Hamas, but you are a big fan of Hassan Nasrallah. Hassan Nasrallah killed many Americans, hundreds of Americans. Hassan Nasrallah is a criminal, Ayatollah is a criminal, and whether you come by the name of Allah or by the name of religion, it doesn't matter. Justice must be delivered. What happened on October 7, it's not about how many Jews were killed. We cannot agree to that. Nobody in the free world would agree on Hamas aggression that was documented by their own cameras. And of course, we will have to go after them. Otherwise, if I to listen to you, earth will be corrupted. If I to just follow your logic.
He is the Quran.
You hear
The war
yourself,
started
honestly, Mossad. Do you
before,
believe
in
anything that you're saying, or do you
1948.
just vomit nonsense
The war
nonstop?
started 1400 years ago. Your mosque in Jerusalem is built on the top of the Jewish temple. You go below the mosque and we have all the evidence. You don't have the right
What?
to...
It's true. What? It is true. The only claim to Jerusalem that Islam has is are the two mosque buildings on the Temple Mount, and they were built on the holiest site of the Jews. That's what happened. That is what happened. And I hope sincerely with all my heart that in the very near future, Israel takes care of it and removes that abomination and establishes the temple once again. I sincerely hope for this. I sincerely hope that Israel takes care of this and once again builds for the religious people of Israel the temple. And that this abomination called the Islamic mosque, the golden, the dome of the rock, and the Al-Aqsa, that they are entirely removed. They do not belong there. They do not belong there. They need to go away. Muslims have their holy site, which they took from the pagan Arabs. Take that. Be done with it. Stop trying to conquer and claim and sit on top of everything else that belongs to other people. They conquered one of the most important churches or cathedral buildings of Christian history in Constantinople, the Hagia Sophia. They conquered churches everywhere. They conquered temples everywhere and turned them into mosques. They conquered Hindu temples. They conquered Jewish places. They conquered the most important site of the Jews and turned it into a mosque. If you let them, they would probably even at some point get rid of the Samaritan places and turn that into Islamic sites as well. If it had any importance, if they knew anything at all. They're ignorant. The only reason they haven't gone further is that they are ignorant and dumb. David, do you want to say something?
No, nothing you said is remotely true. If Muhammad, according to extremely late Muslim sources, Muhammad had some sort of dream or vision where he was taken on a magic flying donkey monster to see Jerusalem, that makes it theirs. That makes the Temple Mount theirs. What further evidence could you possibly demand that that land belongs to Muslims than extremely late Muslim sources saying Muhammad had a dream where he was brought there on a flying donkey monster? That's as airtight as things get.
Alhamdulillah. That's true. That is true. That is true. What world war? We don't want a world war. Who cares about your world war, man? Stop being afraid. Nobody should be afraid of the Muslim outrage. It belongs to Jews, and that's what it should be restored to.
Delegitimize Israel.
Oh, here's what it looks like. Israel has almost completely crushed Hamas already. They took out the entire Hezbollah leadership. They've announced that they're about to take out Iran's leadership, apparently. They're going to crush the Houthis. And then guess what? As AP has shown, a bunch of other places in the Middle East actually don't want to fight with Israel. And so if they crush all the people who do want to fight, and the rest of the people in the Muslim world don't want to fight, okay, how is that a world war? How's that a world war there?
Yeah. We went there. We saw the archaeology. The whole Israel is digging and researching under the square for the Western Wall. Under the Western Wall is analyzing, digging, researching the whole place, and they are uncovering so much history belonging to Jewish history, Jewish times, so much belonging to when Romans ruled and reconstructed the place, and so on. What the only connection that Islam has to that land is that in the 7th century the Islamic invaders came and put their own abomination on top of that place. That's the only connection they have. It is their obligation to get out of there, to leave it, and let them build it. Country has just played a video. Honestly, right now I can't take any of this nonsense. I'm sincerely just banning you right now. If you want to watch the video, go watch the freaking video.
Bye, Contra. I loved the video game, but not the moron constantly whining.
Why don't you play the video? Because we are reviewing the video. If you want to watch the video, go watch the video, man.
As a nation, it's against facts, it's against the Bible, it's against history. You cannot rewrite the history by keep inverting and spreading false narrative.
Okay. Listen, I want to.
You're going nowhere.
All right,
Israel is going nowhere.
Okay.
And you need to have the legitimacy first.
Okay.
You must have the legitimacy as a Palestinian.
What's wrong with Piers, man? The guys literally spoke for 10 minutes when Mossab only responded to a question for like 2 minutes, and now he's already interrupting him again.
Finally, and very quickly, I've got to wrap this up, guys. I just want to ask Omar the same question I asked Mossab, which is, if Israel launches a ground offensive into Lebanon, what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, just very quickly, I'm going to say that Mossab all he does is level.
See, you can't have a conversation with these people.
What do you mean, these people?
Personal accusations about what I think and what I do, and it's just, again, not a serious argument.
Did you hear what he just said? Personal accusation. That's what he started out with.
To create a Jewish state, they have to ethnically cleanse hundreds of thousands of Palestinians out of their homes in order to manufacture that demographic reality. That's just a fact. Now, in Lebanon, I think this ground invasion of Lebanon is going to be a disaster. Your narrative is false. I think you're going. Okay, can you please keep your mouth just zipped while I'm talking, since you made a big deal?
he endlessly interrupted Mossab.
Invasion is going to be a disaster for the entire region. I think they're going to try to turn South Lebanon into another Gaza. I think they're going to engage in a massive, unspeakable scale of violence. And I think that even though Hezbollah's
they want to turn it into another Gaza. You mean they want to give it freedom and autonomy to decide whatever they want to do? Because that's what they did with Gaza. Before, eventually, after 20 years of terrorism by underdeveloped barbarians, they had to invade and stop this failed project.
leadership has been decapitated, there's still plenty of soldiers on the ground who are far better trained than Hamas fighters. And so we are in for an absolutely bloody mess that increases the chances of it developing into a major regional war very, very significantly and seriously. The level of atrocities that we're about to witness in Lebanon is going to be beyond the horror that we saw in Gaza. And again, the fact that nobody's restraining this fanatical Israeli government from this path of death and destruction is an extremely disturbing development that is really pushing the entire region towards the
Okay. Actually, they're trying. And this one time, Israel is finally doing what they need to do and disregarding any attempts to stop Israel from operating. Because even America, look, I love what America stands for, although I think that the current government is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. And their responses to this have been incredibly ridiculous as well. But even America is all like, oh, okay, we need ceasefire. Okay, no escalation. Okay, oh, ceasefire. The entire Western world is a failure when it comes to dealing with threats, with external threats, with the inflow of different people and their aims to overthrow your governments. The Western world lets in all kinds of different people. It completely shuts their eyes when they go around establishing rape gangs. The Western nations allow people to come in under the false pretense of we are all the same, and allow the rape of their own children, of their own women. Western nations destroy their own cultures. They watch it go down the drain and talk about, well, I guess what did we do wrong? I don't know. I wonder what we did wrong. But let's just focus on preventing these Nazis, these white supremacists from saying anything about this. Let's just continue with the refugee programs and the immigrants and all that. And yeah, let's just not care about the rapes. Let's not care about our culture being completely destroyed. Let's just figure out what's going to happen later. Maybe after it's all gone and done, maybe we can cry about it. Let's just focus on stopping white supremacists and Christians and all that. These nations are supposed to decide what is the right way to fight back against external threats. No. Why in the world would Israel listen to Western nations? Western nations are a failure. Western nations are collectively committing suicide. Why would Israel listen to them? Israel is not particularly fond of suicide. So, right, David? Or do you think this was kind of racist?
Yeah, it's pretty much the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life, but that's pretty much every time you speak, so I don't know what to do.
Thank you. That's good. I appreciate that.
I've got to leave it there. Thank you both very much. I understand passions run high on this issue, but I appreciate you both coming together and debating this, and we'll see what happens. I hope you're wrong, Omar, I really do. But I fear that things could get a lot nastier before they get better, but I hope not.
Passions run high, but I feel higher tonight. David, so what is your takeaway from this brilliant conversation?
It's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again. I have to say, though, it really looks like the vibe is just changing, man.
The vibe is changing. What is it changing into?
I don't know. I think more and more people are catching on that Israel's dealing with some sick, evil stuff, and that people who sit around whining about Israel all the time, they're not the freedom and peace loving people that people have assumed.
What is this guy talking about? Mustafa Hassan Yusuf just tweeted, failed to swallow his pride. Ali Khamenei just gave Israel the legal ground to carry out a highly classified 2-decade in the making operation.
He posts a picture.
Code name Ali Baba Ganoush. That's a food. That's a dish. What are you talking about? He wants them to take out the planes. That's cool. That's cool. Oh, it's based. Look at this based picture. This is what we want to see. This should be the future of Iran, inshallah, soon. Anyway, And Wyckoff said at the end, I literally had to throw a shirt over the right side of my TV so I didn't have to see the guy shaking his head while Mossab was talking. Pierce's show is annoying. It indeed is. It indeed is. Hunting Shark, AP and Daily Wire, do you both believe because of Islam's supremacist racist beliefs and its violent nature should the world leaders in powerful states designate Islam as a terrorist ideology? No, I don't think so. I think they should generally fight it, but that's it. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. Designating Islam as a terrorist ideology. Yeah, I don't think that'll work. Nor do I think anyone's going to do it. That task falls to us. Governments need to actually deal with the terrorists, and people like us need to deal with the ideology.
Alhamdulillah. Barbaric Arab behavior. Anyway, those Zionists. What do a redeemed psychopath and an agnostic ex-Muslim have in common? The eyes are the leather strap of the anus, and Muhammad will remove it. This is true. Thank you so much, Nomadicus, for this very, very insightful commentary here. And Wyckoff, Piers Morgan needs far better guests. He does indeed. That bald guy who looked like the lost Hezbollah testicles was not it. That one Jewish girl said Piers Morgan should get Abu Ubaidah in there. He should, and then he should shoot him on air. On the road again, made a super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciated. Lord Stennis said all he knows about is falafel sandwich.
All you know is about falafel sandwich, and you were blown away by the Palestinian experience. The real takeaway from this exchange is you saw what a dirtbag that dude was, and what is he? What is his belief? Agnostic.
That's true.
I think we've all learned a lesson about agnostics and how awful they are.
Nope. I think it has to do with the fact that he looks like a Hezbollah testicle. Hu Jintao says this bald guy looks like the love child of Mo Bishop and AOC, Islamist, but also woke, who uses pronouns and so on. That's true. That's true. Beatrice Nunes, AP Winfold German mode. That's what I do sometimes. That's what they do. Especially when we talk about terrorists, because
urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Yeah. Noam MKW bets on the date the Iranian regime falls. I would say 6/6/26. David, what's your guess?
No, I think it's gonna happen before then.
See, beast. And Wyckoff, want to bet Biden will tell Israel to take the win and not respond to Iran again. Alhamdulillah. They issued a statement earlier saying Iran that they warn Iran not to have any other attacks on Israel, which is of course very serious.
Yeah.
Well, if Iran attacks Israel again, then we will strictly condemn it.
Here's the thing. Part of the strategy we've mentioned before, part of the strategy for the endless rocket attacks is Israel's Iron Dome is neither free nor cheap. It is expensive, intercepting all the rockets from Gaza, from Lebanon, from Iran, and so on. It's very, very expensive. And the idea is, yeah, you're not gonna get through this time, but if you just keep it up, maybe eventually you wear them down and so on. Here's the thing. Iran can they can sustain a lot less. They can afford a lot less than Israel can, in the sense that Israel very easily can take out a bunch of key sites, take out a bunch of key leaders, and there's already a population waiting to take over. There's a population waiting to take over the current regime. So Iran is not going to be able to absorb a lot of attacks the way Israel can, because Israel has great defenses and so on. So we start earlier. We're talking about an existential threat to the U.S. What Hezbollah and Iran are doing right now is not any immediate existential threat to Israel. Israel is an existential threat to Iran, like in the very, very near future. So
that's
what interesting to watch.
And Wyckoff, I'm a musician singer. Where are you getting this AI software? I just look for recent good software stuff. But you're a musician singer. Get in touch with me. I need some singers to sing song.
I'll do it.
I need some singers sing song.
Give me the lyrics. I'll sing them.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that. Basic said, this song bangs, Hassan. Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
My voice sounds like a chorus of little birdies when I sing.
Hey, have you ever seen these Jewish hotties, these Israelis celebrating the September 11th?
Wait, they were celebrating? This proves that the Jews were behind it.
You see?
This
Oh, wait a minute.
proves that the Jews were behind it.
Oh, wait a minute. It says 2 British teenagers had an unconventional Halloween costume last week. They're burning 200. Oh, wait. No, never mind.
Wait, so the British were behind it. The British carried out the
British
attack. You see?
This is so funny. You have these things, like somebody posted this earlier. Yeah. So, somebody actually posted this stupid conspiracy theory earlier of how Jews were celebrating the Twin Towers going down, and they were doing this for religious reasons on their Purim holiday. This is the proof that the Jews are evil. Oh, wait a minute. It's actually 2 British girls. So that then means that British people are evil. I guess. I don't know. That's how it always goes. Anyway, let's switch to this one. Ari Wasserman, does that music software have Dua Lipa's voice? You could make it so. There are also apps that you can use, some local apps which I haven't explored enough yet, where you can feed different voices into it and can make any voice sing any song that you like. For example, what people do is they take a bunch of speeches from David Wood and make the AI learn David's voice, and then they make it sing a song by Dua Lipa, for example.
I've seen a bunch of those where it'll be like Johnny Cash singing Eminem and stuff, but it actually sounds like Johnny Cash doing Eminem.
Yeah.
Like that.
The Johnny Cash ones are generally what usually works best is Frank Sinatra singing different songs, because it's easily singable and the guy has a voice that just John Choi said, so they sent missiles and injure a Bedouin girl and squish a Palestinian to death. It's almost as if they hate Arabs more than Jews. Or maybe it's because the only God in question here is protecting the Jews. But I don't want to suggest that he's not protecting the Arabs. So,
Hey, the weirdest part of that, I mean, the weirdest part again is the celebration, right? It's yay! What? Like what? What are you celebrating? What happened there that you are celebrating? I've been even getting taunting messages. Yeah, where are the pager jokes now that Iran is attacking? Like, what? The pager attack was a massive success against a terrorist group. Iran's attack has done nothing against Israel.
Actually,
I'll say this: the only thing the Iranian strike has accomplished is it will provide significant justification for Israel blasting away at Iran. In other words, when Israel starts blowing up some places and taking out some leaders, they just fired a bunch of rockets at Israel. What do you want Israel to do? Doesn't Israel have a right to defend itself against these people who are launching all these rockets at them? Doesn't it? Guess what? You just buried yourself, Iran. Like AP, I mean Iranian regime, not the Iranian people.
Alhamdulillah. Actually, Rebecca had something very interesting to say about this earlier today, when Suzanne Morales asked the question. Of course, if Elon Musk's platform wasn't so terrible, it would play when prompted. Suzanne Morales says, religiously, what are Palestinians thinking as they say Allahu Akbar watching Iran's missiles overhead? Well, there is, like, here, this is a typical Rebecca moment. This is why I like her. I'm about to say something, but I'm about to say it in way more words than she just blurts it out immediately.
She'll just say they're stupid.
By watching Iran's missiles overhead. Well, they're not
thinking. What'd she say?
They're not thinking.
Oh, yeah, she corrected it. They're not thinking. Religiously, what are Palestinians thinking? They're not thinking. What are you talking about?
What I was going to say there, I was preparing, and I was going to say, well, there is a wrong, expectation or a wrong thought in the statement when you say that they are thinking, because they are not really thinking about it. And she just says they're not thinking. So you see, this is why Rebecca is good.
I'm not thinking. You are wrong to assume that people are thinking. I think if you turn off that assumption, you'd see that things fall into place neatly.
That false
Like,
assumption
everything makes sense now. If you just stop assuming people think.
Yeah, so that's pretty accurate.
Hey, I just checked out Rebecca's channel over there. She got 20,000 subscribers.
Ooh, she's doing good.
She had almost none earlier this year, and we told her if she started cranking out videos, she would blow up.
I told her.
I told her too.
Alhamdulillah. I remember when she emailed me, and I was looking through my emails, and she showed a video of herself and was trying to get in touch, and I'm like, what is this channel? 100 subscribers. Then I started watching one of her videos, and I was at that time in a cab, in a taxi in Israel, going from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And as I'm listening to that with my headphones, I'm thinking, wow, this is really good. This is really good stuff. So I got back to her, said, hey, let's get in touch. And that's how it started. And I said to her, you need to make YouTube videos. You need to make YouTube videos. She's smart, very, very smart. Very, very smart. If she wasn't a woman, I would say that she's perfect, but unfortunately, she has that downside. Arya Wasserman Himmler, you know what we call Töpf und Söhnes new ovens at Auschwitz, Nasrallah ceasefires. Abraham Harp, an employee of mine, tried to convince me that Israel instigated the October 7th attack to justify their refusal of 2 states. I just can't with these guys.
Yeah, conspiracy. They did it so that they could reject the 2-state solution that they have repeatedly offered and that the opposition has rejected every single time.
Imagine how dumb do you have to be. Israel has lost so much support around the world after during the current war, because they refuse at this point to listen to anyone and focus only on defending themselves. They lost so much inside the nation. There is so much grief attached to it, so much finger pointing that people are trying to suppress because there is a war going on and so on. Why in the world would this be the way to handle it? It's so dumb, man.
Yeah, and as has been pointed out repeatedly, the scale of the attack. So people think 1,200. You know, there were more people than that that died in 9/11, where it's almost 3,000. But Israel has a tiny, tiny fraction the number of people that the United States has. So proportionally, it was a massively, massively bigger attack than the 9/11 attacks. Basically, everywhere you go, someone knows someone who died, or they're close to someone who was a relative of someone who dies, and so on. So it basically affected everyone.
That's true.
I mean, beyond just, oh, our country was under a terrorist attack. I mean, people are actually, it affected everyone in the sense of everyone either knows someone or is related to someone, or at least is close to someone who, had someone die or something like that. So it affected everyone very, very closely.
Alhamdulillah. Thoughts on Tim Walz mentioning Israel stands in the Middle Eastern war as an expansion. Did this really happen at the beginning of the VP debate and nobody calls it out?
Are we actually going to have to watch that? I mean, I don't mean like live. I mean, watch it to find out if there's stuff I need to respond to. I'm going to be up all night. I might actually check it out and see what happens.
2 giant dorks. Like, why would I want to watch that even?
Dorks.
I mean, it's the one thing to watch a presidential debate, but seriously, to watch these 2 dorks?
Dude, look at that dude at the beginning. The dude at the beginning looks exactly like the Saturday Night Live parody guy.
That? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I watched it because you were talking about it, and I watched it. But the guy who starts that off looks exactly like that dude, so I know they're going to have fun with that guy if they want to.
But that was not him.
No, not that guy. The other guy. You said you had another guy up on the screen who looked exactly like the other guy.
Because I started the video somewhere at the end or something. I don't know
You
what
just
happened.
randomly. You can't just randomly.
That
It's
the
too late now.
Republican nominee
Oh, this
for
guy, yeah.
president brings up a lot, and the
Presidential debate, extensive.
Another extraordinary day.
Another
extraordinary
day
was happening.
In the
Where's the debate? Where's the debate? Where
What
is
is
this?
this?
What?
What are you even talking about? This isn't a debate.
The Hammer, Harris, and Walls.
Clicked on a random video, man.
Fit for the security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person closest to them, to defend itself, is absolutely Iran.
Iran. Would you have 2 minutes?
Well, thank you, and thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the.
No, I have to say that
crisis
until the election.
Yeah.
in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today where a
What? What did he just say?
But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today where, along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the.
Did he just misspeak? What is he even saying here? I don't even understand it. Do you understand what he's saying here?
Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there.
Of what? What is he saying?
Israel and its proxies is he's saying that's good for the U.S.
Is a fundamental what?
Is
necessity.
An absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have steady leadership there.
Necessity for the steady leadership there. But what is he talking about? What expansion of proxies? What expansion of Israel and its proxies?
I don't know what expansion of proxies he's talking about.
Of Israel and its proxies. I think he misspoke there.
But it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense if he was talking about Iran and its proxy, because then he's talking about this being good for the United States and stuff like that. I don't know what he's. You'd have to see what he was talking about.
None of this makes any sense to me. Can somebody explain here? He's saying Israel and its proxy
in Gaza, but the expansion of Israel and its proxies.
The expansion of Israel and its proxies. What?
I don't. Yeah, the only thing that's confusing me there is what he means by Israel's proxies. Is he talking about like people who are helping Israel, like all the Lebanese who are feeding them information on the whereabouts of the leader of Hezbollah and so on? I don't know.
I mean, I understood when Biden was talking like this, he had no idea what he was saying, but this guy.
Absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today where, along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago. A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not.
Okay, I really don't care about this conversation about Trump and all that.
Yes, you do.
But
it's the most important thing in the world to you.
I have no idea what this guy just said, and I didn't want to watch it, and now I want to watch it even less. So that's it. Mossab, maybe you're retarded, primitive terrorists, hate your own children. Mohammed, no, we love our children, trust me.
We love the children.
John Choi, I couldn't care for the mindless ramblings of what this so-called comedian David Smith. I speak on the authority of my bunghole.
I speak on the authority of the universe.
Alhamdulillah. How anyone can call son of Hamas not serious is beyond me. He has more integrity than almost anyone on this subject. Alhamdulillah, very true. Sardi, Mossab saved thousands of lives, including Arab lives. What exactly did these Islamist loving media grifters do? Nothing. They did nothing. Ari Wasma Mossab, if I had to choose between the Care Bear, Hassan Nusrallah, and Fuzzy Fart Fur, or my children, I would choose the cow. Crusader General, not all Muslims are terrorists. Many are also pedophiles and rapists. That's very offensive and racist. How happy must be the jihadis be? They love the death more than life. Very kind of the IDF when you think about it. You could argue. Me, when I fire off all my rockets early and they have zero effect, babe, I swear this has never been happened before, but it will be much worse next time. Totally. Omar Harris, Hamas and Hezbollah, along with Iran, teams up to fight Israel, but share split differences during the Iraq-Syria wars between Shia and Sunni. Alhamdulillah. That's what should happen all the time.
And Mohammed Hijab basically broke it down. He can be for one group in a situation and simultaneously against that group from a different perspective.
That's true. AP, please expose feminist rape denier Rula Jibril. Who the hell is Rula Jibril?
Someone you're supposed to expose.
Rula Jibril. Who in the heck is Rula Jibril?
She's a rape denier and a feminist.
Rula Jibril is a Palestinian. Yeah, there you have it. Foreign policy analyst. Born in Haifa, Israel. Who's this? I don't even know who this is. Never heard of her. Huh. Interesting. I don't know. I'll check it out. Please send me something. You can message me, one Jewish girl. Send me something from her so I can have a look at it. GoTub, Islamic Trinity, wife, sister, cousin, 3 in 1. What's wrong with you? Man, instantly. We got large group of stupid people on one of the most popular forum of our country claiming Bibi is the reincarnation of Österreichische Künstler. Would you mind spending some time educating them? Where? What platform is that? Yes, I will come there and personally educate them. Thank you, Ansett. AP, after you introduced me to the fact that AI can sing lyrics, I have been wasting all my time using Pro Tools to produce fake songs. Thanks a lot. Beast. It's so much fun, man. It is so much fun. It's so much fun. Dor Daniel side, I disagree with Dr. Per Terror Winger. The UN isn't doing nothing to stop Israel. They're working hard daily to stop Israel from defending itself. They are, but they're not getting anything done. They should fix their chairs first. Sean and Taunton, the moment when the IDF does more in 10 months than we did in 10 years. Bless the chosen people. Chosen people. That's what they do. Hey, remember how I sent you this? I sent you this clip of Mossab Hassan Youssef saying, "We are all children."
We're all children. Mm-hmm.
We are all children of God.
We are all children of God.
Yeah.
We are all children of God.
We are all children of God. Alhamdulillah. Ari Wasaman Mojab, if the two holes in the narrative become one, is that perfect Tawheed? Yes, Ragadi. Well, I guess so.
True.
Instantly, by the way, the X Smashes Haze Bowler used were made by a brand from our country. No need to thank. What are we talking about here?
Oh, the pagers.
Oh.
Egg smashers. They blew up balls.
Oh.
Eggs are a euphemism for testicles, AP. Hence,
I know that.
Huevos. Huevos.
Or do you mean in Taiwan? They were made in Taiwan? Is that true?
Yeah, I thought they were made in Taiwan. That's what I thought.
Something
That's what I've
about
heard all along.
Hungary or something. I don't know what happened.
You don't know anything.
Dor Daniel Sari, Jews are like a near extinct hunted people. Our constant learning and improving is literally a life or death way of people. Hope this makes sense. Yes, it does. And Jews have been there is no other group. There is no other group in the world that has a history this old.
Liar! What about the Palestinians?
Whose language has basically dropped out of use long time ago. They have been suppressed, didn't have their own country, had to live in exile, existed and preserved their traditions throughout millennia and have re-established their country and brought back their native language into common use. There is no other people that did such a thing. I know Jews don't have a concept of being superior, but maybe you are superior after all. I'm just saying this to trigger those neo-Nazis in the chat. Hu Jintao says, Omar, Mossab is a bigot. He says Arab are stupid, Arabs are clone. At 10:30, see Pierce's face. He's thinking, well, so far you're proving his point. Ayatollah Khamenei, my live reaction to Mossab mentioning me. Oh, yeah. David the Goliath, I'm not pro-Palestinian, but how can anyone claim that pro-European Jews are indigenous to Palestine and Palestine Arabs are not? It is absurd. The region was under Arab Islamic rule. They converted the locals. You could say, I personally, if you ask me, I personally would not ever go to the discussion of these people deserve the land because they are natives.
Yeah, we think that's a stupid argument, and so does everyone else on the planet except on this area. This is the only place where, oh, but people who were there a century and a half ago, everyone who's on the land right now should get off the land because there were people there a century and a half ago. We think that's a stupid. What are you even talking about? Who are you responding to, David Goliath? Because if you're responding to us, you have not understood anything we've ever said in our entire lives at any point. Like nothing. What are you talking about?
I will definitely say that Jews have an ethnic and cultural tie and relationship to the land that is very, very obvious and undeniable. I would not say, yeah, they totally they deserve to, I don't know, take the land because they're indigenous to the land or anything. I would not make that argument. And you could have people who make such arguments. I would personally not make that argument. I would say that it is a land that has a vastly Jewish history. It is a land that is known for its Jewish history. It is a land that is known for its holiness in the religion, in the Bible, and so on. And the Jewish people had made their decision to go back and to reestablish their homeland there. And they deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. The other side, when the other side argues that the Jewish people are not native, not indigenous, we are indigenous, therefore this whole land belongs to us, that is a stupid argument. That is an invalid argument that is also false.
Yeah, David the Goliath. Basically, you had Jews who were there all along. You had Jews who came from Europe.
Yes.
You had Jews who came from other places, Iran and so on.
Yes.
And so you have a big mixture. You have a big mixture.
Yes.
And there were multiple reasons. There were multiple reasons for that being the place. That was part of the Ottoman Empire, a tiny little section of the Ottoman Empire. And you had the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem conspiring with Hitler. How are we going to wipe out the Jews that are down here? Hitler said, okay, let us deal with the Jews here, and then we'll come deal with the Jews down there. And then post-World War II, can we really leave the Jews down here under the power of these jihadis who want to slaughter them all? No. Okay, let's divide up the land. We have Jews over here, and anyone who wants to live with the Jews, and we'll have the Arabs who want to kill them. They can have a different spot. But we need to keep them separate. We need to keep them separate. And then you come along, and then people come along. But what about the indigenous? We're not talking about that. What are you even talking about?
Alhamdulillah. John Choi said, Mossab's smile has the dual ability to scare and put you at ease at the same time. Actually, yeah, it really does.
It does. He's getting better at he's looking more natural, because like a year ago it would look very like forced, like almost like I must smile now to have a warmer appearance for people. And he'd go
I will shoot the cow. Songs of Relief. You know who would love to talk to? You know who you would love to talk to? AP Oren from Traveling Israel. In your next visit to Israel, put him up for tours and conversation. Inshallah, I will. Inshallah, I will.
I'll be there in December unless it gets canceled because of war concerns.
Really? That's interesting.
For anyone who's thinking, I don't want to go over there when there's a war going on, guys, this is the absolute best time to go over there. All the spots you normally go to, they're normally like crowded, jam-packed with tourists, and people want to check out the ancient site. They're empty now. And it sucks because you do have a lot of the locals who kind of depend on tourism. Like that's their livelihood. That's their livelihood is taking people in various places, like tour guides and stuff like that. You have people like that. You have people who they have shops where tourists are the main people who buy things at their shops and so on. So it really, really sucks for them. But from the perspective of a person going to visit Israel to check out sites, guys, these are the all-time best times to do that because the places are absolutely empty.
Yeah, this is why Israel should always be at war, so we can go there and have a good time.
Yeah. So we need to advocate endless war to make room for tourism.
Yeah.
Terrorism, and the wars that result are the path to good tourism.
Yeah. John the Press Potter said, does Omar think the Turks need to give Constantinople back to the Greek, or is consistency not a thing? He probably doesn't think so, because
consistency is never a thing in this issue. There's no concept of consistency. You can have every pro-Palestine individual on the planet ask them what rules they're coming up with. This is the rule we're applying to Israel in this situation. Okay, do you apply to any other group on the planet? Just Israel, just Jews.
Songs of relief, prayers for Mary and Mississippi and your families. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to run through some super chats. Need to go. Lovely Valerie says okay.
Acting like you
I can figure it out. I can't figure it out.
Acting like you know.
Come on, man. I need to practice more.
Acting like you know.
I need to practice more. Wait a minute. That is a v.
You're embarrassing us, man.
That is a bit.
You're embarrassing us. AP literally just said, I have to burn through these because I have to go. And I'm spending 20 minutes trying to learn Hebrew.
It says something like Voker Tov. Is that right? Voker Tov. But I have no. Yeah, funny. I figured it out. I think. Is it true? Boker Tov. Oh yeah, it is right. See, I figured it out. But I have no idea what it means though. What does it mean? Good morning. Good morning.
Humiliated.
Funny. Well, Valerie, thank you, and good morning to you too. Or Boker. What was it again? Boker Tov to you too. Alhamdulillah. See, I'm learning slowly. Preshi Prash. Palestinians are descendants of ancient Jews of the region who were Islamized Arabites during the Islamic rule, just like Egyptians, Algerians, Syrians. Not entirely true. Some of them definitely are. Many of them are not. It's not that easy. It's not like you are a person and you were at some point converted and you are still the same person after a while. It is a pool, a genetic pool of different people, some of whom have ancestry that goes back far into the past, some of whom don't, and so on. That's it. Akila Copeland. Hey, isn't it? What is that tonight? Tomorrow is the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. That's what's happening. Akila Copeland. AP claiming what Omar says is genocide isn't genocide. Literally genocide. Actually, what Omar says. So claiming what Omar says is genocide is not genocide is genocide is actually what genocide specifically is not, when you take the whole issue of genocide into consideration. Because when you claim that something that is not genocide is genocide, and then you accuse those who deny that of being genocidal, then what you are doing is basically that you are genociding those who claim that genocide is not genocide, it's genocide, and that is genocidal. So that's that. Tweak87 says, let them fight and may the best God win. Inshallah. Place your bets. That one Jewish girl, I'm sick of the white colonizer.
You sick in the mind? You're sick.
You are sick.
I'm sick of the white colonizer narrative. Jews were murdered by Hitler for not being white. We Ashkis have 50% West Levantine, Mizrahim are 100%. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to believe the Ashkenazi Jews and their claim to being from the land, you can't say anything about the Mizrahi Jews, right? So, and if you leave it to them, I'm sure that most of them will say, we accept the Ashkenazi Jews. So there you go. Alhamdulillah. But however, we don't have to listen to anybody because we know that the Jews have a connection to the land. That's what they do. And yes, in Europe, the Nazis would accuse the Jews of not being European. And
Doesn't it suck? You can't go anywhere. No matter where you go, they say, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, you belong to the desert. Where you from? And then
you go to the desert. You're not from here. You belong
back
in
to
Europe.
freaking Poland. Then you go back to Poland. They're like, go to the desert. We don't want you here. And then you go back to the desert. And they're like, go back to freaking Europe. And so on. It just goes on forever.
And then the end result, the real end result is you don't have a place anywhere, so we just have to kill y'all.
We gotta kill y'all. I watched a video recently, which was basically what we just said in meme form. It was kind of messed up. Which was basically the history of Jews. I need to find it sometime. Alhamdulillah. Moo Joe, but the Hamas and co-spokesperson live on a land that is not his own. Why? Shouldn't he go back to Gaza, Egypt, or Jordan? No, because they can. The entire world belongs to them. That's why. John the Presbyter, the Free Palestinian in USA, think it was understandable if a Comanche tomahawked them for being on their ancestral land. Apparently, of course.
Yes, and then when you ask him the response, well, how should this family that's been tomahawked respond? Well, they should respond by everyone in the U.S. Going back to Europe except the natives, and then let them take over the entire country. That's how it should work. Everyone else can go back to Europe and Africa and everywhere else we came from.
That's what they do. 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 What they do. Beautiful song. Noam MKW, Jews were in Israel when Muhammad's great-grandfathers were drinking wine and eating pork while burying their daughters alive. That's true. That is true. That is true. Indeed, the Jews, the Yehud, were the ones who turned Medina, where the first Islamic state started, into a proper place. Yes. So you could argue that it's actually in the that it's part of the Islamic history, part of Islamic tradition to just take what Jews made and then to kick them out. Sardi, Israel tried that. It's called Oslo Accords. What Israel got is a second extremely bloody intifada. This is true. Malst, Hola, AP, and David Wood. What are your thoughts on Plan Dalit? David, what are your plans on Plan Dalit?
Yeah, pretty rough stuff. That's part of the was it 1948 battle plan? They know what's coming. They know what the Arab nations are about to do. So they went to areas that were significant for their own defense and so on. And
yeah,
it's basically similar to the overall perspective in the sense that you have some people who are viewing it as, okay, this is defensive. We have to do this because this is rough times coming. And there are other people who just view it as nope, it's ethnic cleansing.
Yeah. You have to take into consideration that 1948 came after 1940 and 1930 and 1920 and 1910, which were many decades where the Arab side repeatedly committed brutal attacks on the Jews and made it quite clear that they do not want any Jewish presence in the land, and that they will not back down, and they will fight the Jews if they have the opportunity and drive them out or eradicate them. Of course, in the face of that, it is only expected of the Jewish side to set up plans to fight against those who fight back. There were Jewish organizations, Jewish militia organizations. So the Haganah was the primary militia of the Zionists, but it was mainly just a force that was established for self-defense, that didn't do anything at all, that barely ever even responded to attacks. After mounting attacks from the Arab side, the Haganah started being more responsive to attacks, being stronger. And then as time passed by, other organizations, other militia formed from the Haganah, which became more aggressive, which said, hey, we can't just, do this whole defend ourselves thing. We have to fight back against these nut jobs. This is how the other groups, Irgun and Lehi, came into existence, and so on. They lived in a very rough and hostile environment. And that is because the Islamic side always believed in eradicating the Jews. Lloyd44, did you know that Mark Twain unwittingly fulfilled biblical prophecy about Israel? Did he? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I know he visited Israel. I've never looked into.
He called it a
visited
barren land,
and wrote a series of articles and stuff. He joined. That was kind of the towards the beginning of like where you could have a tourism industry towards it. Pretty rough traveling there back in the day, but then all of a sudden you had ships and so on that could. And I think he joined up with a group that was heading there and so on, and wrote a bunch of articles. I don't know. Might be interesting to go through them and like compare his thoughts, because that's in the 1800s on to where the way things turned out.
Yeah, I have a book somewhere about visitors of the land before the Zionist project and before modern Israel came into existence, and their opinions of the land were basically that it's a rough place that is also vastly empty, and that there is no unity, and it's not a people. And some people misunderstand that. So it was a land without a people. That was the idea.
He said AP.
Some people misunderstand that and think, oh, look, they were saying that there were no people there. That's not what they were saying. What they were saying is that it is a land that does not have a people. So it's not, it was just random people here and there throughout the entire land. There was no common identity of different people living together and all that. It was just a mix of different people that was living there, and most of it was empty. And the Jews indeed came and made it great. And then the other side said, "Oh, it was all land. No, give us everything.
We had all these cities. These cities were ours.
Give us everything you
We built
built."
Tel Aviv.
How many times have you seen?
Look, it's Tel Aviv built by
It's
us.
actually called Ahuzat Beit, which is a Jewish name. So stupid, man. Dor Daniel Sadeh, could you imagine the amount of Palestinian lives that would have been saved if the UN just pressured Hamas to surrender on October 8th?
Or even if you didn't have the UN involved, if you didn't have people around the world giving Hamas hope by all the endless protests and making Hamas think, oh, if we hold out long enough, Israel will back down, and these protesters will affect their governments to crush Israel and help it. If you didn't have that, it would have been over a long time ago.
That's what they do.
Jewish.
That's what they do. That is what they do. The first inscription mentioning Israel was written by an Egyptian pharaoh, Merneptah, 3,200 years ago, bragging that Israel is wasted without seeds. Yeah, I saw that, the Merneptah stele. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, that's one of the examples that's used for ancient cultures using hagiographic hyperbole and talking about military victories as being complete extermination of entire populations, even though it's not. You win a battle against someone, you say, I left them, there is none left. We have destroyed men, women, and child. They're all gone.
They're finished. They're finished. They're finished.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
That's what they said. I posted about that a long time ago on my X. But here's a basic. The prince is a prostate saying peace. Hey, it's talking about me. Prostate. Prostrate. Not one raises his head among the nine bows. Desolation is for the wicked. Anyway, Israel is laid waste. Its seeds is no more. You see? Israel is finished. This is from a long time ago.
Seed is no more, meaning there's no one to carry it on.
This is from whence? This is from From whence created 1200 BC, 1200 BC, over 3,000 years ago. It says Israel is led west. It says Israel is finished.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
But of course, it wasn't finished. And then we have, again, more stelaes and inscriptions from later on, from over the centuries and so on. So that's that. Bobo Roboronin says, you ever notice how people like Omar are constantly talking fast and always acting neurotic? He sounds like Dawa over Dunya. Alhamdulillah. Parash, Scarlett Johansson, Jake Paul, Daniel Radcliffe, Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg, Zelensky are Jewish. Do you guys believe they're indigenous to Palestine? Again, completely irrelevant question.
A quarter of Harrison Ford, because he's a quarter Jewish.
I don't have a quarter. Yeah, again, totally irrelevant question.
Yeah, what is this even talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean in yeah, I don't know what to do. So it's like people hear what the arguments are, and then you could be talking about something completely different, and they think you're saying the same thing that they heard in their mind. It's like if you argue that Jesus is God to a Muslim, they go,
"Oh, you're saying that since he was born of a virgin, that he must be God? Whoa, Adam had no father too, so you're saying Adam is God? What? This makes no sense."
Eastern European Jews are actually a very, very old community that goes very far back. So when it comes to Zelensky, descendant of a community that goes very, 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 very far back and has long, long, long traditions of upholding their religious beliefs and traditions and separating themselves from the culture and all that. Definitely, you have mentions of those Jews in Ukraine from over 1,000 years ago and more. So yeah, why not? Have you heard about Ahmadinejad claiming Iran's Secret Service created a unit to find Mossad in Iran, but its head and 20 of its agents turned out to be Mossad? Thought you might find it amusing. I saw that. It's actually an old video. I think it's from like a few years ago.
That would be pretty funny.
Ahmadinejad Mossad. Wait a minute. It's not an old video? I thought it's an old video. Iran's former leader claims Secret Service division tasked with rooting out Israeli spies had within its ranks 20 who were working as moles and provided nuclear information. That's funny. That is funny. That is indeed funny. Ahmadinejad, Mossad agent, headed Iran's anti-Israel intel unit. The former Iranian president said that the unit tasked with foiling Israeli intelligence was in fact riddled with Mossad agents. Israel organized complex operations inside Iran. They could easily obtain information. In Iran, they are still silent about this, the former Iranian president told the news channel. The man who was in charge of the unit in Iran against Israel was an Israeli agent. Oh, this was discovered in 2021. This is not an old video. I see. This is funny. You see. Mark K. The mosques in Jerusalem is proof that the Islamic Caliphate colonized not only Israel, but the Middle East and North Africa. You see. This is true. They colonized everything, even Mars. Paul Longaro, David Wood, isn't the Jews building a new temple end times prophecy?
Depends on who you ask. You do have
whomst you ask me.
Yeah, you do have predictions of a third temple in Judaism. Some Christians also. But I've never been terribly interested in end time stuff. So
eschatology.
When did you learn that word, man? That's a big word. Eschatology. Come on, man. It's too many syllables for you.
Eschatology. It's the most based form of religions. Yeah. It's isn't it part of the Isn't it in the Torah as well that God will? Isn't it part? It is in the Bible, right?
You
That
have Old Testament stuff about a future temple and so on. And so you have what is this? Is this something people go out and do, or is it something that happens after the Messiah comes and stuff like that?
I know many words, man.
You don't know anything.
You don't even know. I know. I can say poop. Smitty Fly, God bless you both. Have you seen the clip of Hassan calling the Houthis musically gifted individuals? Jews always keeping youth from the fine arts. Do you mean Hassan Piker, Hassan Abi? If so, I believe you. You mean the Gucci communist? Gucci. I would expect anything from Gucci communist. The only fighting men in the Arab world fight with Israel, i.e., the Jews and the Bedouin. Yeah. That's right. Lloyd 444, the Mahdi's like, I think I'll come back later after seeing this obviously. Mahdi. Muslims can't build anything. As a Hindu, my best day was when our holiest site in Ayodhya was freed from the mosque built on top of it. Oh yeah, that's when we talked about that, right?
Is that the Babri one? The Babri Masjid? Is that the one?
I guess so.
Or is that a different one? Because it's happened a couple times.
There was a representative called Mahbub who was talking about it. We read that article. I remember.
Mahbub.
I can never forget.
Mahbub.
I can never forget Mahbub. Now a beautiful temple of Lord Roma stands restored there. I hope one day we see Jews also reclaimed from this cult that what is rightfully theirs, inshallah, soon. Yoav Bresler said, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy Rosh Hashanah. What do you say in Hebrew when it's Rosh Hashanah? What do you say?
You say Happy Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah. No, not in English. In
or you say Merry Rosh Hashanah.
What do you say in Hebrew when it's Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Shana Tova. That sounds like a Russian name. Shana Tova. Okay, yeah, of course it's different. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Shana Tova. Chag Sameach. Isn't that just happy holiday? Shana Tova. What Hebrew year is it? 5,000. What is it now? 5,784. That's what it is. 5,784. That's what it is. 5,784. That's what they do. Tezbot, AP, you echo many people's thoughts about Western failures. Governments have betrayed their people. Yep. That's what I do. I can just say it because I'm not white. Slavic Stress says, funny, AP wants the temple built. That is when the Antichrist is supposed to appear, at least in one view of the end times. First time sporting an atheism. Alhamdulillah. That is according to the Christian view, of course. Yeah. I just think it would be base to see the temple. Have you seen plans of the third temple?
No, but well, yeah, I'm sure I have. But no, I think it would be more based to say, as peacefully as possible, guys, this Dome of the Rock and this Al-Aqsa Mosque, we're going to do it for you. We're going to disassemble them brick by brick, and you pick some other spot. You pick some other spot on some other mount somewhere else, and we'll take it all down, and we'll reassemble it for you over there. And you can whine all you want, but there's absolutely nothing we can do to, there's nothing you can do to stop.
Or just carry it with a crane and put it somewhere else. Find a crane. If you can't find it, it's going to be destroyed.
Yeah, that's what's funny. See, it's like Israel would do it in the nicest way possible, rather than see if AP was in charge, he would just blow everything up on the Temple Mount. And then rebuild the temple. Israel would be as nice as possible, and people would be as enraged as possible about it.
This is actually very, very true. Israel would
we would have some seriously good live streams about that.
Israel would do it in the nicest way possible and would try to make it as convenient as possible to the Muslims and try to collaborate with them as much as possible just to get it done. And I would just sit here and think, just blow it up, man. This is why nobody should listen to me. Ayatollah Khamenei, that guy in the debate clip is Tom Cotton, a senator, Harvard Law graduate, and soldier in the 101st Airborne, you dingus. And you know this.
We weren't talking about Tom Cotton. We're talking about that guy who looks like the guy from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was the news guy.
El Gato. El Gato says they should remove one stone from the dome and Al-Aqsa for each cylinder that came in their hand. That's what.
Now that's a D Wood style. That's a D Wood style as far as repercussions. Hey, every rocket you guys fire from now on, we're taking one brick down. Don't fire any more rockets. Don't fire any more rockets at us, and we won't touch a brick. We won't touch a single brick. But every rocket that comes across that border at us. Or even, hey guys, how many hostages do you have? How many hostages do you still have? Yeah. For every day you do not return those hostages, we're taking down 100 bricks. Let's do it that way. I would do something like that.
Okay.
I do believe I am a big fan of repercussions.
Repercussions. The Reaper is coming.
I'm Yitzhak Reuven.
The Reaper is coming. I'm just trying to look for a video that I watched a while ago of the Third Temple. Third Temple Project. This is so funny because I know that lots of Israelis would probably think that this is an extreme position to hold, but I'm totally fine with building in the Third Temple. Because I think that you shouldn't care anymore. You should just have them build.
Don't care anymore.
But they don't have the overview.
Don't care anymore.
I saw that lots of Israelis think we shouldn't be talking about this, but I would think you should be talking about this. You know, what is this? This is one of those visions. That's funny. I don't know. I don't think this is the actual plan. Oh, there's this cool picture. What's this? Beast. Anyway, let's get back to our hot girl here to get more attention from people, just like Fresh and Fit. Lloyd444 said, I believe the children are...
What's wrong with you, man? That was more amusing than it should have been.
I didn't expect this at all.
Oh, boy.
I believe the children are our future.
Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
The thing is, I
give
love
them a sense
I
of pride.
That's so many times in my life.
Make it
I love that
easier.
song.
Sexual chocolate. You don't remember this? Coming to America, Sexual Chocolate. Wait, what was the guy's name? Randy Watson. Randy Watson sang it.
That's funny.
I can never forget. So that was the character. That was the leader of the band Sexual Chocolate singing "I Believe the Children Are Our Future" and "Coming to America." And so that came out. And yeah, so it was Randy Watson. But I was in this was 11th grade, some sort of like history class or something like this, and the teacher would call roll, and there was a kid named Randy in there, and every time he got to Randy, someone would go Watson right after it, and it was funny 100% of the time. It was like D's nuts in prison. It was just something that was always funny, no matter how many times you heard it.
Yeah, Darren Platt said, "Who needs the Temple Institute when you have AP?" Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Literally. Future, not future now. Build it now. Build it.
Tear down the dome.
Build
Tear
it.
down the dome.
Build
Tear
it.
down the dome.
Build
Tear
it.
down the
Build
dome.
it. Build
Tear
it.
down the dome.
Build it. Build
Tear
it.
down the
Build
dome.
it. Inspiring philosophy. Hey, what's up, Michael? How are you two still live? Go to bed. I'm already on my second beer for the night.
Beer? I thought you drank whiskey, man.
This is kind of funny because I said that I'm quickly going to run through the super chats. That was like an hour ago.
That was like an hour ago. I have to go, so I'm going to go through this quickly, quickly. Oh, look, here's our 47th video on rebuilding the temple.
Victor Emanuel Oliveira, shout out to Inspiring Philosophy, one of the best channels and most educational people on the entire planet,
and super
arguably
based.
the entire universe.
And one of the people who the Dawa guys annoyed enough to get him to start responding and blasting away at their stupid arguments.
Yeah, and he also invented the printing press, by the way.
He did.
Ansatly, if people can move the whole Abu Simbel temple from one spot to another, it's definitely possible to safely move the door and mosque far away from the Jews to somewhere else. They should do that, man. Leave the Jews. Victor Emanuel Oliveira said, AP, have you ever formed Israel and EU4? Of course I have, man. Are you kidding me? That's the first thing that I did. I did that actually sometime this week in Crusader Kings as well, with the new update. GoTop, did you hear what Tim Waltz said about AP's favorite place, Hong Kong? Me neither. Oh, he didn't say anything about Hong Kong. You should be talking about Hong Kong. Crusader journalist, show me a moose that isn't a cow, iron, and a liar, and I'll show you a rainbow shitting unicorn. This is very, very racist.
It's extremely racist.
Repent now. David the Goliath, I'm totally against Islamic terror and want Israel to succeed, but please also have sympathy for Palestinians. They deserve a state of their own too. I disagree.
No, not about the sympathy part.
The sympathy.
Yeah,
Totally sympathy. Yeah, sure.
You can have
every human deserves sympathy. Every human deserves empathy. Every human deserves no human deserves to suffer. But the statehood part, I disagree entirely.
David the Goliath. Just quick couple things here. You can have sympathy for the Palestinians and recognize that they have some very bad, very dangerous ideas that they need to drop, and some allegiance to some terrorist groups that they need to abandon. And that those are those are their biggest problems. Israel's not their biggest problem. Their obsession with annihilating Israel, that is their biggest problem. And until they drop that idea, then you can't take it seriously, saying, hey, let's give these guys a state, when all the sole purpose of them having that state will be to destroy Israel. That's it. In other words, there's a reason they don't have their own state. As soon as they have their own state, then the entire Muslim world can start funneling in weapons and stuff like that to annihilate Israel. So that's what you're suggesting. So no, you have some work to do as a population. Once your population is done with the idea that Israel has to be wiped off the map, then you say we want a state. I will agree. If they drop the idea of wiping out Israel, I will agree. I will agree completely. Yes, give these guys a state. They have done what is necessary for taking them seriously as people having a state. Until you're saying, hey, the sole purpose of us getting a state is to annihilate this other group. Okay, I'm not taking it seriously. Not anywhere in the world. If you said, hey, we want a state so we can annihilate this other group, I'd say, okay, we can't take you seriously then.
This is true. It's true. I agree. It's pretty racist, and I love it.
You mean basist?
Basist, yeah. Edward Tiber said, hi, I'm an Israeli. I'm going to reserves in Sunday. I guess I'm going to visit Lebanon for the first time in my life. Wish me luck. Thanks for the love.
What? Going to
all
visit
the best.
Lebanon.
All the best and stay safe. Wish you all the best and stay safe.
Constantinople shall bend to God's control. Break the gates of the golden wall. For Christendom rises and Islam shall fall. With the cross in our hands and fire in our souls. Constantinople shall bend to God's control.
This is a song about conquering Constantinople.
Powerful.
Which I made. Because when I'm bored, I make songs with AI about crusaders going and conquering Constantinople from the Muslims.
Hey, here's Presh again, not understanding anything we have ever said.
Okay, just don't respond. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Palestinians, yes, they're mixed. Yes, tons of the Jews there, they're mixed. A bunch of people are mixed. What does that have to do with us being opposed to Jews being wiped out? What does that have to do with it?
Jews are mixed.
Yeah,
Jews are mixed.
So am I. So is AP. So is most people in the world are
Yeah.
mixed.
Yeah.
What in the name of common sense does that have to do with?
The Jews are mixed? Oh, that means you should be able to exterminate those mixed people there. Should be able to exterminate those other.
The heck is anyone talking about here? Like, they keep applying to us things we have never said or never even thought in our lives. And
this is what you're saying? This is what you're saying?
No, it's not what we're saying. We think it's stupid. What the reasoning you are applying to us is reasoning we think is stupid. Why do you keep applying it to us?
I just want to say one thing here.
Thank you for the
Mr.
donation. That's all we want.
Mr. Preshy Presh. I just want to say one thing here, which is this.
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Legimathigayon said the universe has chosen the cow in the name of the children. My opponent is not fit to provide for the children. I am the children. Only the cow can provide milk, cheese, cream, armor, glue, and leather for the homosexuals and Democrats. Pretty strong.
That's actually close to what he said that one time when he was called out. Why'd you say you choose the cow? Because the cow is good and it provides things. It provides milk.
Alhamdulillah.
And leather.
Daniel Sadeh said, fun fact, the most common boy name born in Israel in Jewish calendar is Muhammad. In Israel is Muhammad. The article came out yesterday. Some apartheid is Muhammad. Yep. The reason for that, by the way, is that it is a Muslim thing in general to name at least one of your children Muhammad. It's possibly many of them, if not by first name, by middle name. So many of them will have Muhammad as their middle name or something like that, just because they want Muhammad as their child. Because they all want some Muhammads.
Yeah, and it's they basically say, you know what? We need at least one of our children named after some pedophile. And then as soon as they think pedophile, they think, oh, who's the most famous pedophile of all time? Muhammad.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, we have a child. Let's name it after a child molester. How about Muhammad?
That's what I'd go with. That's what I'd go with.
If people can move the whole Abu Simbel to... Oh, I already read this. What's wrong with you? Omar Harris, Iran rocket shot down by Jordan. The U.S. Israel also flew over Jordan, Palestine. Alhamdulillah. Urinating Broom says, the only reason Iran attacked is because Mojab tweeted that they need more than words, had to retaliate, etc. Witness the influence of Muhammad Hijab. This is true. Because Muhammad Hijab went on X and he said,
"You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done."
So, and then he also accused them of...
You're sitting there watching Netflix.
So Iran said, okay, we can't have this. We can't have this. We can't have this. We need to do something. And then he said,
homosexuality should be fine.
And I thought, no, fire right now. Basically, that's what happened. And Wyckoff, can you make Mossab sing on your app? I could try. I certainly could try. How about I make you sing on the app? Lothar said, AP and Dawood is the best of thumbnail makers. Alhamdulillah. Oh, yeah, I forgot that this has the best thumbnail in the world.
It did. That was a pretty good one because before you didn't have one. And so it was showing up as blank. And then that one came up and I was like, oh, perfect thumbnail. People are going to be clicking on that for a long time.
Just Mossab smiling bigly. Alhamdulillah. All right, this is it. I'm going to jump ship now, and I'm going to rest for the rest of my day life because I am tired. I made live stream earlier already, and I followed news all day and all do weird things. What so-called Palestine? Okay, yeah, nothing ever happened, said Brian Bloom. Thank you so much, appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna just go now. And I'll leave you alone with this wonderful song, sung by a very sad woman. And all she wanted to do was to be with her lover. One more night with her lover, Hassan Nasrallah. So, one more night.
Oh Hassan, my Nasrallah, with your turban so tight, your beard so thick like hummus on bread, how you terrorize hearts, now mine feels so dead. Oh Hassan, my habibi, with Allah as your guide, you launched a war without victory in sight. With thousands of missiles you captured my heart, but then Israel came and tore us apart, literally. Hassan, oh Hassan, you were my sweet flames. You terrorized nations, but I loved you the same. A proxy of tyranny with war in your plans. I miss your explosions, I'm your #1 fan. The street shook beneath you like my heart in your hand. With Hezbollah's chaos, you ruined the land. But oh my dear Hassan, through all of the fights, I loved your bombs and those sleepless nights. Your speech is like poetry with threats that inspire. Whenever you waved your finger, you fed my desire. Now I lay in my bed, dreaming of you, my brood. You left me scorched, like your bunker in Beirut. Oh Hassan, with your terrorist flair, you turned Lebanon's beauty into warfare. But your Shia devotion made my heart swoon. As you lit up the sky, I hummed you a tune. My heart broke when the Jews struck you from the skies. I wish you'd been with me instead, terrorizing my thighs. You barked so loud, oh Tehran's faithful hound. With Khamenei's blessing came your gentle pound. Though Israel claimed you, I'll never let go, for in my heart you're still Hezbollah's glow. Oh Hassan, my chubby she prince, you fired at the Jews, and I've loved you since. With missiles and bombs, you made the world weep. But now in my dreams, it's your beard that I keep.